I'm going live on YouTube instead. I have no idea why the calendar link did that, exclamation point. I'm so sorry. So this is going to be recorded, obviously. So this is a live video. No one's here yet. This was supposed to be a Zoom meeting with 100 people. And I had the calendar link with the Zoom password and everything. And for some reason, nobody got the password. Everyone only got the meeting room. So hopefully everybody makes it on here. Just gonna wait patiently. I feel horrible. And then there's no way for me to email everybody. And I would. Live on YouTube right now, guys. So go ahead and go on YouTube and we're going to do the conference there. I'm putting this on my story for everyone who's watching right now. And okay, cool, Nigel. All right, cool. So we have some people coming in. Awesome. Welcome, guys. Obviously the Zoom meeting didn't work, but thank God for technology. There's backups. We're on YouTube. Hopefully everybody can make it on here. I feel really bad. I'm like, craps. I have a lot of stuff to talk to you guys about today, so I'm super excited. And I definitely want to make it like a back and forth. I was hoping on the Zoom people would be able to hop in, which I don't think we can do that on YouTube, but it's okay because we can communicate in the chat. Hello, welcome. I'm gonna give it like 5 minutes. And if you guys want to introduce yourselves, if you have, I really want to in the beginning kind of get a gauge of where everybody's at in the business, because I have things I want to share, like maybe if you've never done a deal before to get a deal, or if everyone's already working and doing deals, then we can just kind of help each other elevate and everything. So if you've done one deal, 1 to 5 deals or whatever, put the number of deals you've done in the chat. So if it's 2 deals, put 2. If it's 3, put 3. If it's 7, put 7. And if you haven't done a deal yet, you can say I haven't done a deal. You can say 0. That'll be perfect, because then I could really gauge like what we should talk about the most. And at 15 and 16, no, you can't really like do contracts till you're 18, right? But I do have someone who's 17 who cold calls, and I do all the contract and all that other part. So definitely can work in wholesaling. You just can't, start your own LLC or anything like that. So if you have family or friends who can help you get an LLC and do that, and then they can go ahead and sign the contracts and communicate with the title company for you. The reason why is because, say you got your first contract, you're sending it to the title company. The title company is going to ask you for your LLC paperwork, unless, of course, you're buying it under your own name, which then they'll ask you for your driver's license. They ask you for your LLC paperwork, your driver's license, your operating agreement, which says who all is involved in the LLC, so they make sure you're the only person they need to pay out. And because of that, that's why you can't be under 18. You have to be 18 to legally sign a contract. 2 deals and 1 sub 2. Okay, awesome. So we got a lot of people who haven't done a deal, which is fine. Everybody starts off at 0. Gabriella, so contracts. On the link in my bio, I do have contracts in my Gumroad. You can also get contracts from wholesaling groups. So wholesaling houses supercharged, wholesaling houses ground zero, wholesaling houses for newbies, like all of those groups have contracts and assignments in them, and you just really need to read through them and make sure the terms work for you. That's where I got originally my contracts from. And then later on, I ended up meeting other wholesalers in my market in Ohio and getting contracts from them. So it's really up to you. Okay, Brandon, over 40 done, 2 under contract. That is awesome. You've done way more deals than me. That's freaking awesome. And it would be great if later on, when we're talking about marketing and stuff like that, Brandon, if you can share with people what you do, because I know I really wanted this to be a collaboration. That was the point of the Zoom. So like in this scenario, I would have got Brandon on the screen later on, but at least we can talk in the chat and communicate in the chat, because I'm also wanting to learn more, get better every day. So I definitely can learn from anyone who has some information. Introverted investors, that's funny. So, okay, we have 35, and a lot of people are saying they haven't done a deal yet. Some have done some deals. We're gonna do Q&A later on, so save the questions, like all the random questions. I kind of want to go through it like from top to bottom. So like normally when I do a live on Instagram, it gives us an hour, and then like we can't really get in depth in anything. And I know a lot of people haven't even gotten started with picking a virtual market yet. And that's so I want to start from a lot of people haven't done a deal yet. So to everyone who's done some deals, we're gonna gear this towards people who haven't done deals because most people here haven't done a deal yet. So let's gear it towards them, and then as we get in deeper, we'll all learn new things today. But I kind of want to start with actually getting started, picking a market, researching and all that stuff, and then going into talking to people, marketing, getting a deal, going into contracts, going into all that stuff. So I promise there's going to be plenty of time to ask all the questions you have. Let's just go topic by topic so that we can flow and then people can learn. So we have 45 people. Hopefully everybody will join this, and hopefully everyone will see the story and join this. But I kind of want to get started. I don't want to waste your guys' time and everything. So I want to start from ground zero. I stole that from wholesaling ground zero, right? From nothing. So say you have nothing and you're starting off and you're like, okay, I need to start wholesaling. Where do I start? First, you need to pick a market. That could be in your backyard. That could be a few hours away, depending on where you live. So if you live somewhere that's huge, overpopulated, LA, New York, Metro Atlanta, just any really big city. I don't even like things huge like Dallas and Houston, but there's tons of people making money there. So don't like take what I'm saying and take it as you can't make money in those places. You definitely can. I just think if you want to get started and find the easiest place, looking for higher rental markets. So places where you could get rental properties like under $100,000. Under $100,000, you can get single families, duplexes, fourplexes, whatever, and having a cash flow of a few $100s a month. So if those properties cost like $800 to $1,200 to rent them a month, but you're able to buy the whole thing for under 100K, that's pretty big cap rate. And if you're wholesaling in a market like that, you won't really run out of inventory, and you won't really have to beg people to sell their house, because in a lot of these high rental markets, they have a lot of really old, distressed homes, and people are needing to get rid of them. I started in COVID, and I still haven't ever pulled a tax delinquent list, a foreclosure list. I haven't pulled anything like that. I've seriously ran my whole business so far on vacant absentees, people who just need to sell their house because it's coronavirus and they want to get rid of their property. That's where I'm at right now. And then now I'm looking into, of course, divorce, death, and all those other lead sources that are amazing, and you can start anywhere. But I started with vacant absentee just because I felt like the climate right now, a lot of people aren't getting foreclosed on because of taxes. A lot of people aren't getting foreclosed on for not paying their mortgage because of all the relief available. And the main demographic of person that I felt would be suited to sell their house at a discount right now will be someone who needs some money because they're not working, or just because of all the hardships due to COVID. So I've been doing good with that. I would definitely stay away from anywhere where people know the value of their home is just so high, like Los Angeles, Las Vegas. These are places that just are appreciating like crazy. So if you talk to someone here in Vegas and their house, maybe a house down the street sold for 280, they want 320. They're always trying to like raise the prices. It's really important to find places that have a lot of rental properties and cheap ones that are distressed. examples of that, like just random examples of that, like Wichita, Kansas, Indianapolis, Indiana, um, Kansas City, Missouri, um, Broward County, Florida. Like they're not big cities. It's not Miami. It's a small town. It could be close by. It could even be a metro area. Cleveland, Ohio, where I started. That was a good one for me because I knew a little bit about Ohio, not too much, and I had a little bit of friends in the area, family friends, and it just made sense. Like I'm seeing properties 40, 50,000, you can get a duplex, put a little work into it. It just made sense. And honestly, my confidence level was another thing. I didn't have the confidence to be trying to say I buy houses and it's a $500,000, $300,000 house. I just didn't have that confidence. But I felt more comfortable in a cheaper market also because I could see based on PropStream that I could definitely sell a property for 30K and someone would definitely sell theirs for 30K because I see it happening all the time. Where I live right now, I don't think a property sold for under $100,000 in like the last 8 years, just because that's just the city I live in. So it was also kind of a confidence thing that had me choose a smaller market. But after I started, I did go back and try Dallas and Houston. I pulled lists for Dallas and Houston, and it was just like Vegas. It went very, very poorly. Everybody I talked to, they were the 30th, 40th person. I was the 30th, 40th person that's called them that day, and it was just everyone was sick and tired of getting phone calls. So it just discouraged me, and then I went back to the smaller markets, Baltimore, Philly. You know, there's so many little cities that are still cities, but they're just not super appreciating. They're more of a rental market. So that would be my suggestion to picking a virtual market. Don't pick a big city, pick somewhere smaller. The main thing though is once you choose your virtual market, you have to test it. You have to see if this is something that is going to work for you. Just like I called Dallas and Houston to see if maybe those would work for me. It's important that you guys do that too, at least for 2 or 3 weeks. So what I suggest is you go on PropStream, pull an absentee vacant list in the hottest zip code. And if you don't know, let me see if I can't screen share because this is not Zoom. I was like, let me screen share. But if you guys have seen the Max Maxwell video, I think it's called Cash Buyers List Hack. He shows you how to find the hottest zip codes on ListSource. You can do the same thing with PropStream. So you just type in the city, state. So for example, Indianapolis, Indiana, you click cash buyers and then also filter it. Make sure that they bought in the last 6 months. And you can pull that list and you can organize it by zip code and see in the last 6 months what zip code had the most people buying cash. That's how you figure out the hottest zip code in that area. It just what zip code had the most cash buyers. That's all you really have to figure out. And then pull a list from that zip code, an absentee vacant, 99 to 100% equity. This is just basic list for you to pull just to catch a vibe of how people are in that city, in that area. So that at least for 2 weeks, pull that list, skip trace it. I really like REI Skip for if you're just starting out because they scrub the litigator list and they get pretty good results. So, and it comes back very fast within like 10 minutes. So I used REI Skip for a long time in the beginning. Now I use the hot wholesale data skip tracing just because, but it's more expensive, but just because it works, so it's a little bit better. It's a little bit more accurate and more records show up, but it's a little bit more expensive because I get data from them too. So questions about choosing a virtual market, if you guys can start asking about that in the comments. I really want us to focus on one topic at a time. So we're going to get to, all the questions, cash buyers, pulling lists, everything. But as far as picking a virtual market, because that's going to be step number 1 for everybody who has no experience wholesaling, for everyone who's never wholesaled a deal, and they want to virtually wholesale. and you have questions about how to pick your virtual market, ask them. We'll give a couple minutes on that, and then I'll move on to the next thing. So Detroit, I think Detroit is an amazing rental market. I would totally buy rental properties there. I think it's a really good place to wholesale. One of my friends that I met through real estate wholesales in Detroit, and they do probably like 2 deals a week out there. I think it's just you have to really know the market. In cities like Cleveland and Detroit, you really have to know the market. And another thing, when you're sending your boots on the ground to these like bad parts of town, you have to be really careful because you don't want to endanger people either. So if you don't know your market, I wouldn't suggest just hopping out and trying to say, hey, boots on the ground, go take pictures of this property, and you have no idea what side of town it is and all that. You might be kind of like in over your head in a city like Detroit and Chicago and Cleveland, where they're kind of dangerous. New Orleans, Baton Rouge, just anywhere that has that kind of like really dangerous kind of town reputation. Just be really careful, learn your market really well. And like Gerardo just asked, once you choose a virtual market, how'd you find boots on the ground? The boots on the ground are who's going to tell you the market knowledge. So I found my boots on the ground on Craigslist. I just posted an ad saying, hey, $50 if people can take pictures of a property, put lock boxes on, etc. I live out of state, but I'm trying to buy properties in Ohio. So when I posted that, I probably got like 80 emails. It was ridiculous. I just started calling the people down that list until I found someone that I vibed with, that I felt like I could trust over the phone. I went with my gut, and don't waste too much time, but like maybe find 3 or 4 different people and send them out to check out houses. If you can rely on them, keep them around. But those are the people who are going to tell you everything about your market, because those guys live there. They're from there. If you send them an address, it's in a horrible, scary area. They'll tell you, I don't think you want me to go there. So when I start a new market, yeah, Chris, stay strapped. Seriously, that's not even a joke. My boots on the ground in Cleveland all carry, because you're going to abandoned houses a lot of times. You're going to vacant houses. There's squatters, there's raccoons, there's dogs, there's dead dogs. You just don't know what's going to pop up in a property, which is kind of why I love doing virtual wholesaling, because I'm sitting here like in the comfort of my air conditioning and my heat, chilling, and I don't have to go walk any scary properties. But I mean, these guys that will respond to your Craigslist ad, a lot of them will actually be contractors or people who have worked in real estate. So they're not scared, and they know what's going on. They're ready. You just have to make sure to pick the right person. I am a woman, so this is not sexist at all. But if you're going to have like a female who's just taking pictures of the houses, you have to make sure she's like the type of female that's okay with getting dirty. Like, I wouldn't go into a vacant house, and if I like felt creeped out, I would leave. You have to have somebody who's going to be carrying, who's confident, who's going to walk through the whole house, and they have to be comfortable doing that for $50 or for however much you agree on. But it really shouldn't be that difficult. You just have to call a few people, talk to them, feel them out. It's very intuitive. Let me see. So that's how I found my boots on the ground, Craigslist. You can also go on Facebook groups like virtual wholesaling. I mean, not virtual wholesaling, sorry. For example, if your market is Indianapolis, Indiana, you could go on like Indiana real estate investors Facebook groups, and you can just post in there and say, hey guys, I need some pictures taken of a property. If you could put a lockbox on for me, it's in this area. And people will respond. I found boots on the ground that way as well. And yeah, so when I talked to the boots on the ground for the first time, the conversation was basically me introducing myself, letting them know what my goals are. I'm an investor. And usually when you start sharing information about yourself, they share information back, right? So a couple people are like, oh, I'm in college, I just need to make some extra money. So yeah, I'll take the pictures. That's not really who I'm interested in as my boots on the ground. I want someone who's involved in real estate, contractors who maybe are out of work or don't have a lot of work right now. People who used to work on houses, they're a little older. now. So they just go take pictures, they'll throw a lockbox on for you. People who just have extra time, but they know about real estate, they know about the market. That's why it's good to ask in those groups too, or like be specific in your Craigslist ad. Say, I'm an investor looking for someone with a little real estate knowledge, because the best part to me about boots on the ground is they're basically you and you're not there. They're you. They know way more about the town than you. They know way more about the market than you. But it takes conversation, and you have to be willing to talk to people that you don't know. And that's this whole business. You're going to be talking to people you don't know every day. So talking to boots on the ground is a really great way to like start getting that practice in. And I ask them, do they have any experience in real estate? And if they do, and they have contracting experience, then I'll ask them, like what type of work they've done. If I needed them to, could they give me estimates on jobs? Could they give me repair estimates or bids? And if they can, then awesome. So Roland said, I know my market like the back of my hand, but I'm a little nervous because the properties range from 4 to 800K. So yeah, that's pretty much the same issue that I felt here in Las Vegas. I felt like it was kind of pointless to try so hard when there's so many people that have more marketing dollars and more money than me that can invest that into those higher priced houses. And then you got to also think like a cash buyer, someone who's going to buy something cash. If it's going to be a $400,000 to $800,000 property, it's got to be a really, really good deal for them to make a really good spread. So it's definitely possible. It's definitely happens all the time. I'm just kind of like more of like, I like being a big fish in a small pond. That's just like, to me, I'd rather be a big fish in a small pond than be like a little minnow trying to swim with the sharks. But now that I have more confidence in myself, in real estate period, I feel like I could just start trying to wholesale in Vegas now and do well. I just didn't have enough confidence in the beginning. If you can fake it till you make it, Roland, that probably would be great because those markets have huge spreads. You might make $100,000 a deal. I've been wholesaling since May, and I haven't broke $100,000 yet in assignment fees. And I've closed 18 deals. So that's the hugest difference. Like if you're in a small market, like I did a lot of deals, I feel like I have a lot of experience. I haven't made those huge assignment fees. They've been like 3,000, 7,000. The best one was 22,000, but I had a JV, so I shared it, so, and I'm not like saying this in an ungrateful way. I'm not complaining. I'm super grateful. I think it's amazing that I've been able to do this, period. But in reality, there is places where they have huge spreads, and that is intriguing, and I want to be super rich. So obviously that has to be taken consideration. Roland, if you can start there, that would be amazing. But you could also pull a list in like a smaller high rental market, cold call that, or have a cold call that, and then you focus on your market. So then you don't feel like you're missing out. You're getting the best of both worlds. At least be investing like 3-4 hours a day into each market. That way you won't feel like you wasted time. Even if you try for 2-3 months at your home market and it doesn't work, you still will have been getting deals in the smaller market as well, even if it's just enough to hold you over for marketing. Jeffrey from Hawaii. Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure Hawaii would be really tough to wholesale. So this will be put on my YouTube channel. So if you're a little bit late onto this live, we're going to just go section by section. A lot of people have never done a deal before. So we're just going to go section by section from the order of what comes first to closing the deal. So picking a virtual market will be first. The last thing will be getting paid, right? So we picked our virtual market. Gave you guys a little info. If you missed that, this will be up. You can rewind. I also have a YouTube video about picking a virtual market, and it's very in-depth. So that's free. Check it out later on. And it will really help you. I have so far tested like 5 markets, and I have stuck with 2. It just takes time. It takes time. It takes effort. No one can tell you the perfect market, but there's tons of tips there in that video, and they're in the beginning of this, a little bit in the beginning of this too. So say you pick a virtual market, then you need boots on the ground. So we talked about that too. Now you got your boots on the ground. You posted your Craigslist ad, your Facebook ad, you met a bunch of people. So now you have your boots on the ground. So next, you want to establish a presence in your virtual market. You want people to know who you are, who your company is, that you guys have good deals. You want to start building your cash buyers list, and this is all done simultaneously as you're marketing, as you're contacting sellers, right? You're building your credibility a little bit too. So a main, really good way to do that is with those Facebook groups. For, say you're in Maryland Real Estate Investment Club. That Real Estate Investment Club tag is huge. It's in every market pretty much. And it's the same little picture. I wish I could screen share. That was like my plan, to screen share everything with you guys. But you know what? I'll just pull it up on my phone just so I can show you the icon. So this icon you're going to see a lot in wholesaling. It's this. You probably won't be able to see it. Let me turn this. Yeah, I guess it's not going to work. Oh, there we go. You can kind of see it. It's like a little hand with the house, but this is the Real Estate Investment Club ending to the Facebook group. It's in almost every rental market. They have the Cleveland one, the St. Louis one, the Baltimore, Maryland one, the Florida one. Birmingham, Alabama is another really good market. So like blank Real Estate Investment Club. Those groups, they're pretty much all of like the internet, wholesalers, cash buyers, everybody who does things virtually. And they're huge resources because a lot of these people are virtual as well, just like you, and they know a lot more about the market, and you'll make connections in this group. So when I first enter a new market and I'm testing it, I post and I say, hey, I'm a new investor. I live out of state, but I'm looking to connect with other investors, realtors, and can anyone recommend me a wholesaling friendly title company? So you're asking for help. People are going to want to help you. They're going to want to tell you the title company. And then if you are someone that people want to talk to, so this is the other part, is image, right? If you look like someone who has things going on, people are going to want to talk to you. So make sure your profile picture is professional, your cover photo is professional, your page isn't political or put people off in any way. Don't be nasty on your Facebook. And if you're a crazy person and your Facebook's all over the place, create a new Facebook and post some family-friendly stuff. You know what I mean? You want to be PC, rated G. You want to be professional. So keep your opinions, your political stuff, all that stuff to yourself on your personal page. Create a Facebook for this because people are, you know how we are. We judge. That's just human nature. If you see a Facebook and their name is like not a real name, like Sarah, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Fendi, Prada, and then your profile picture is like, no one's going to want to talk to you. They're not going to even think you're really doing real estate. They're going to be like, okay, this kid, like this person's immature. You want to like exude, I am in real estate. I am a professional. This is what I do. Like, you can trust me. And that takes an image, right? So make sure your Facebook is professional, have a good image, make a post in those investment groups, and you'll start meeting people and really call these people and talk to them. Guys, like, it's not a joke how many people you're going to have to talk to learn your market. These people are going to tell you all about the market. So someone will be like, hey, I'm a realtor. Let's connect. Get their number. Call them. You're going to have so many pointless conversations. I'm telling you, I've had at least like 700 pointless conversations since I've started wholesaling. It doesn't matter because it's never a pointless conversation. It teaches you something. It leads you somewhere. One day that person that you met will come in handy down the line. Markets, when it comes to real estate, are very small. It's the real cash buyers. There's so many in a market. The realtors that work hard, there's so many in a market. And the more engrossed you become in a market, the more you'll learn who's who. That's why you want to be one of the who's who. It's not enough to have a deal or 2 deals every month. You have to make people feel like you're a part of the real estate community in their city, or they're going to feel like you're a scammer or you're like not really real. So spend some time talking to people in that market, realtors, other investors, other wholesalers, contractors. Build relationships with these people. tell them about you, your life, your family, find out about them, their life, their family, and build real, genuine relationships. That's what this business is really about. Because those people and remember when I started, I had no idea what I was doing. So I'm telling you guys this because this is what's helped me actually excel. I'm not telling you guys this like waste your time talking on the phone to random people. I realized what actually helped me and what things, when I did more of those things, created results. So these people that are just random people that are helping me out with market knowledge, later on down the line, if they're not a wholesaler themselves, they'll be like, hey, I met this person who has this house. Can you help them? And they actually became referrals. The contractors that I've met, they've gone to go do plumbing bids and wouldn't even accept money from me because we actually built a relationship. It's not anything fake. They're doing a friend a favor, and then if they need a favor, I do them a favor. So it's like, you need that, just like you need a social world in your own personal life, like most of humans do. You're going to need that in your business because your business isn't going to thrive without a network. So your boots on the ground, and then these investors, these realtors, anyone who's nice and cool that wants to talk to you. And people are bored right now. It's COVID. So a lot of people are going to want to talk to you. You have to put that time in. So now you've got your market, you've got your little network, you've got people to go take pictures and everything. So we're going to go on to marketing. So I'm pretty sure there was questions about marketing. So to everyone who's like just hopping on asking questions, we're going to answer like Q&A by topic because it's going to be all over the place. Like, I'm just going to be answering questions for 3 hours. I don't want it to be that. A lot of like questions people ask, I've covered everything like in YouTube videos and lives and everything. I want to give people like, when you guys get off of this today, I want you to be able to go actually pull a list, get on a dialer, and start trying to start your business. I don't want this to be like just answering random people's questions and then everyone leaves without an A to Z. How can I start? Where can I get started? This is kind of like, I don't know, like my Christmas present, I guess. I want people to be able to start their business because there's so many one-off questions that I know everyone has that are answered through the journey of actually pulling the list, calling the people, texting the people, and trying and actually putting your effort into it. And I know that it's hard to figure out step by step, what should you be doing? So as far as the topics that we've covered so far, does anyone have any questions? Because we're going to move on to marketing right now. So we did picking your virtual market, boots on the ground. You kind of established a little presence. You have your network. And now you need to pull your list and call and test that market. So any questions on that, drop them in the comments. And John, so how long typically does it take to get a good lead and realize it's a solid market? How many leads should you be getting? So I would say, like, when you're testing your market, you at least want to give it 2 to 3 weeks if you are calling at least 4 to 6 hours a day. So I'll tell you, when I started, I pulled a list, I think it was 1,200. And then when you skip trace it, all the contacts don't come in, of course. So I think it ended up being a list of a little bit over 800 actual contacts on there. I cold called at least 5 hours a day. So 6 a.m. my time is 9 a.m. Eastern time. So I'd wake up at 6 and I would call from like 6 to 12. I would take a little break and then I would start talking to cash buyers, boots on the ground, and other people. So I still would continue doing real estate stuff, but I would only talk to sellers first thing in the morning, 6 a.m., 6 hours a day, every day, no matter what. Some days I would stop if I got a couple leads and then I had to like go research and try to work the leads, call them back and stuff like that. That's the only time I would stop cold calling. If I got like a really hot lead that's like, yeah, I want to sell. How much? Then I would be like, oh, okay. And then I would hurry up and try to run numbers and everything, which I'll explain to you guys later isn't the best way to do it. You can make an offer right there on the phone. You can actually get them to tell you their number, and that's the better way to go about it. But I would say at least 2 to 3 weeks if you are calling 6 hours a day. You need to call that whole entire list of 800 people at least 3 or 4 times. A lot of people aren't going to answer. You're going to have a lot of wrong numbers, a lot of don't call me. And that's the importance of having a really good dialer system. So I use Phone Burner. When you get a Phone Burner subscription, you can actually have a Phone Burner representative set up the whole entire thing for you. So it's really, really cool. I love Phone Burner. When you get on there, it's on your computer. You dial the number with your phone, or you can get access through your computer, and it just calls the people one by one. If somebody says, "Oh, don't ever call me again," you just click "Do not call." If they say, "I'm interested, but I don't know, I have to talk to somebody," you can put them in the follow up. And it literally will organize them into folders for you. So when you come back onto your computer, you can click follow up and just call those people. And it calls them back to back. You don't have to click anything. All their info's there. You can write notes there. And you can even have a Zillow button. I don't use Zillow. I use PropStream. I think Zillow is horrible for comping. But if you wanted to see the Zestimate, you could even have like a Zillow integration where you can just click and then they let you connect to Zillow. So it's really important to have a good dialer. If you're using a really good dialer and you're calling your list and you're calling that test list, the main thing to listen for is the kind of vibe of the town. So like Vegas, LA, New York, when you call, they're going to be like, "You're the 10 millionth person that's called me. I've gotten 4 texts in the last 20 minutes, blah, blah, blah." Like they're just tired of being marketed to. Don't waste your time, because the way that we can market, being someone who doesn't have $10,000 their first month wholesaling to market, the way that we can market effectively, cost effectively, is cold calling, text blasting. Those are and RVM, ringless voicemail. So we're going to be calling them, texting them, ringless voicemail on their cell phone, which is really irritating to be blown up all day by a bunch of people. You're not going to stand out. Those markets you have to do like PPC, SEO, direct mail, maybe door knocking. You have to be creative. So if you are in one of those expensive markets, there are ways to market. You probably want to like listen to those guys like TTP and Real Estate Disruptors and all those people who are in Arizona, because Arizona is one of those markets that's more expensive and they do very well there. So obviously they're doing different things than just cold calling, because if you're cold calling a market where everyone's getting calls all day long, it's irritating. So that's my main thing to listen for when I'm testing market. If people aren't trying to talk to me on the phone and they're ignoring the text, I'm going to waste my marketing dollars and it's not a viable market for me and I need to move on. There's some markets that you will call and people will want to chit chat with you, and if you can have a couple cool conversations a day, you're probably in an okay market. If everyone's like F you, B word, and hanging up on you, you might be in an oversaturated market. So I think honestly, within the first 3-4 days, you can get leads. You can get leads on your very first day. And when I started calling in Ohio, I got my lead for my first deal actually came on the second day of cold calling. How confident are you? How good do you sound over the phone? That's going to determine how quickly you get a lead. You have to sound like you know what you're doing. What I did in the beginning for my own confidence was I acted like I was working at a company. So I acted like I was working at Offer George and I was just a phone representative. That way I had a manager to ask or check back with, you know. I didn't want to seem like the ultimate authority because I didn't know everything yet. And these people aren't dumb. Like a lot of these people who own homes are investors and they know about wholesaling and they know about all that. So it's better to be upfront. When you're new, don't say, "I buy 10 houses a month." Say, "I'm just getting started. I'm really looking for an amazing first deal, you know, and I want it to be a win-win." Sound excited, sound hungry. You know, you're going to be in real estate for the rest of your life, right? So convey that message to them, and eventually your leads will become friends. This is a little sales thing, like just because I was in sales for so long. Something we do in sales is like we tell stories. This is not to sound like gimmicky or like fake or anything, but this is really like a really great tool for sales. Have your story, and it's going to be the same thing that you say to every person on the phone, but it's like you have to follow a script and you know what people want to hear, you know what touches people. So you have to kind of use that. So who are you? And what story could you create for yourself to tell over the phone that is endearing, believable, and will make people want to help you, will make you sound humble, will make you sound like a good person. So For example, when I first started, I didn't say, I'm an investor, I buy all these houses, blah, blah, blah. I said, hey, it's COVID. I got laid off. I saved up some money from waitressing and I'm trying to get a rental property. And, I really like yours. My mom's going to help me. Like, this is what I tell people. And it's not a lie. Like, I'm 26. My mom has rental properties. My uncle has rental properties. And I am just starting. And I did save some money from waitressing. And I did want to find a rental property. So it's like, how can you position yourself in your life to be a real person, that to be a real person that just needs some help. Like, you are asking them for a deal, right? So you want them to like you and want to help you. I've had people who were total complete strangers, sellers, who went on, like, once I talked to them and kind of tell them my story, we're Facebook friends now. Like, they show me all these houses when they buy them. I've done deals with them, and you really build relationships. If you're honest, if you're lying, they're going to see through it. So try to get your story together. Tell that same story every time you get someone who actually wants to sell their house. Before you get into the house and the offer and all that, make sure they know who you are. They know your story. They care about you and all that stuff. Build that rapport, because that's going to be huge, 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 huge. So, John, I hope that answered your question. About 3 weeks, and you can get leads the first day. Don't give up just because you don't get a lead super quick. Stick out the whole 3 weeks. And if you're not calling 4 to 6 hours a day, 4 to 6, not 46. If you're not calling between 4 to 6 hours a day, don't say, what am I doing wrong? What you're doing wrong is you're not calling enough. Do you necessarily have to cold call, or is SMS text marketing as efficient? No, it's not as efficient. It is efficient, but I think it's kind of lazy and passive. Sorry to people who get all their business from texting. I don't like it. I just feel like it's so slow. If I text a list of like 2,000 people, maybe 4 say, yeah, I want to sell, it's harder to get those texter people on the phone. So I've done 3 deals via text, right? They were super clean. Like, my text blast is typical, hey, John, interested in your property on blah, do you want to sell? I have 10 templates. It sends different templates, whatever. So the deals that I have got were people who responded 15K. Like, they literally would just tell me their price, because it's a certain type of person that will sell their house via text. They're like a no nonsense, no BS kind of person. They just want to get straight to the numbers, straight to the facts, so I think texting is cool for that reason, because some people aren't going to answer their phone. So I think it's definitely worth it to put every list you have through a text campaign. You need to also call that list too. Ringless voicemail is optional, but you need to also call through that list too, because the majority of people are going to answer their phone or do a deal over the phone because they can actually hear your voice, know who you are, and hearing someone's voice builds a little trust. A text message, a lot of people will ignore it. So I don't think text marketing is efficient. I think if you're relying on texting and direct mail to find a deal, you're kind of just sitting there waiting for your phone to ring, even if you are clicking the button to text blast. Why not sit on the dialer while you're doing that? Text blast your list in the morning and then sit on the dialer and call a different list. You just gotta be active. You need to be talking to people every single day or you won't get deals. And I say that very seriously. You need to be talking to people every single day. So if you're texting and no one texts you back that day, it's kind of like, it's an easy out. And I really want to encourage like a hustle mentality, a hardworking mentality, because wholesaling is very hard. You might luck up and get a deal on texting and make a bunch of money one day, right? But if you don't instill the hard work and the habits that you're going to need to continue getting those deals, it doesn't matter if you get one deal that's $500,000. You probably won't get another deal ever. The point is consistent deals, a lot of deals, and building a business. So I wouldn't say just text. I would say definitely call as well. So T says, if I found that there was a better time to get leads and he finds the least hostile people are after work hours. Yeah, I think it just depends on the market. I like calling early just because, I don't know, something about just being fresh me personally, like by the end of the day, I'm tired. I like being fresh and engaged, ready to have a conversation. So I like the daytime. I think between 9 a.m. to like 11 a.m. in that market, in whatever market you're in, is a good time. And then, like you said, like 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. is pretty good too in the evenings. My cold callers do cold call like throughout the whole day. And I can't say there's like a best time because leads come in anytime. But I think, like you said, at nighttime, people are kind of more relaxed and less rushy. But at the same time, it could be opposite. At nighttime, people could be more tired. But I definitely think between 9 to 11 a.m. and then again between 4 to 7 p.m. is the best. Around noon and on, people are pretty busy. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna leave this video up on YouTube if I'm able to. I will leave this up, and you guys can go back and watch the beginning for sure. And my opinion on getting a real estate license, Mike, I think it's a really good idea to have, because how could it hurt you? Even if you don't hang it anywhere and you don't go be a realtor, you know, that knowledge is only going to help you. I got my real estate license in Vegas when I was 19. I didn't use it, but that real estate knowledge definitely played a huge part in my quick success. I didn't come into the game, you know, knowing nothing. I knew a lot about real estate. I just didn't know about wholesaling. And it's really similar to being a real estate agent without a broker. So it's awesome. And I know many of you have heard about, you know, all these places that are making wholesaling illegal. So I think it would be very smart for us to get our real estate licenses. Definitely, I want to get mine for sure in just kind of decide like what market to get it in, because you have to have a different one for each state. So I'm like, dang, I don't want to get 10 real estate licenses. I want to build a team so I can have my license in one state and my partner can have a license in another state. That's kind of what I'm working on, like having that solid, really, really trustable team that's like a family that, you know, I can rely on. And then definitely everyone's going to be licensed in different states for sure one day. So Ashley, how should I speak to these people? I watched a few TTP videos. I have no funds to say I'm a cash buyer. Where would I start? So yeah, so that's kind of what I was talking about a little bit earlier. You don't have to say like, I know all these wholesaler classes are like, say you buy 10 houses a month and stuff. For credibility, it sounds good. But if you're lying, they're gonna see through that. So it's good to have your story of how you started, where you are. You know, you're looking for your first deal. Be honest, or you can say, "I'm a new investor." You don't have to be. Don't be totally transparent and tell them I'm going to wholesale your house and find a cash buyer and blah. No, no, no. You still want to say you're looking to buy a house, but you want to be honest, and you don't want to seem like you're this real estate guru expert and you're not. So you can also position yourself as someone who works at a company that buys houses, Ashley. That way, you're not putting all of the authority on yourself. You say, well, I'm not really sure. I'll talk to my manager or I'll talk to my partner and I'll get back with you. And that way, you always have a way out of the conversation when you get nervous or when you get unsure. John, so you say you have your cold caller set up on Mojo. I think couple questions is, have you ever cold called before? And if you haven't, you shouldn't have a cold caller yet. Guys, don't hire anybody until you've been cold calling for a while, because it's literally pointless. Like, how are you going to tell somebody to do a job that you don't know how to do? Also, depending on if your cold caller is from the Philippines or wherever they're from, they're not going to get leads like you can. So it doesn't make sense to test a market with a cold caller. You need to test the market yourself, because you're going to be the only one who can really know. You know, you got to keep your ear to the ground. You have to stay with your nose to the ground in this business. I still cold call. I don't cold call throughout the week, but if I start a new market, I'm cold calling it. If, you know, I feel like something's going on, my cold callers aren't doing well, something's iffy, they're not giving me good leads, I start cold calling again because I want to know what's going on. If they're complaining about a list, I will go cold call that list because I'm not going to do that. Like, it's your business. You have to hold the reins in your hands. And a big part of that is you doing the marketing yourself sometimes. Until you really, really know that market, you should be the one cold calling. And then like, especially if you're using a VA from the Philippines. I don't use VAs from the Philippines anymore because they just don't understand. And I know there's great, amazing ones. I just haven't found the one for me yet. They just don't understand our language. I was listening to one of the calls what the VAs did, and the guy, he's like, "How are you doing today, sir?" And the guy's like, I'm all right, man. Just woke up on the wrong side of the bed." And he's like, "The wrong side of the bed?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, this is so like cringy to hear this right now." Like, and it's not his fault. He's not from America. So, I'm from Ethiopia. I'm not judging nobody. Everybody in my family speaks with a crazy accent, but it's just what it is. They're not going to connect like we can connect. They're not going to be able to have this flow of conversation. So if you're testing a market, you want to actually feel what the people are talking about in that town. You got to be the one calling. Whole Heart, Whole Home. So on Phone Burner, when you sign up, they have a support number. Just call the support number, say, "Hey, I just set up my account." They actually contact you too because they want to help you set up your account anyway. But if you get it, like say you got it today and you want the call today, all you have to do is call them. Someone will it's so awesome. Someone will log into your account, and you'll be looking on the screen, and they'll be like moving around your screen, setting up all the settings for you. So you want to have like your disposition settings set up to pick people in the right folders. For example, bad numbers and do not call, right? You don't want a bad number / do not call folder. You want separate folders for bad numbers and a separate folder for don't ever call me again. That way, bad numbers, you can skip trace them and hopefully contact these people. Don't ever call me again can go on do not call and you never call them again. But you have to set up those folders in your dialer, which can be a little complicated if you've never done it before. So they will actually do all of it for you. And that way, when you start cold calling and you get a contact that says, "Don't ever effing call me again," you can click do not call. If they say, "Oh no, you have the wrong number," you can click bad number. If they say, "Call me later," you can put follow up. "I'm not interested," not interested. Still call them like 3 months later. You know what I mean? All these folders, like you never want to waste a lead. So all these folders you have will serve a purpose later on. You'll reskip trace the bad numbers. Not interested, maybe you'll call them every 6 months. Follow up, maybe you'll call them every week. Appointment set is people who want to sell and they want an offer. You keep on top of that list. So that's how Phone Burner sets it up. It's really awesome. Kells, I do look for a certain ownership length, usually like at least 2 years. But over the course of time, you're going to end up pulling a lot of lists, right? So that's just something you have to keep track of when you pull a list. I will say like absentee, vacant, 90% equity, 3 years owned. 90% equity 2017, like what year and after the property was bought from. Just because over the course of time, you're going to pull a ton of lists. You're going to need to go maybe 3 years, maybe 7 years, maybe 10 years. You're going to have to switch it up. I think if you're just starting like your first list ever, you might as well pull, they've owned it for at least 3 years. The reason why I say don't go too far back, and this is just like my personal experience, there's a lot of people who buy houses, think they can fix them up, can't, and need to sell them. So those are super motivated people because a lot of times they bought the house for like $5,000, $10,000. They thought them and their friends were going to get together, fix it up. Something happened. They couldn't do it. And now they just want to get rid of it for pretty much what they got it for. They just want their money back because it was a bad investment, right? And you can go ahead and wholesale that. I had a deal like that. This is actually my first deal. He bought the property in 2018 for $68,000. And he sold it to me for $15,000 because he got so ripped off. He was losing so much money on that property. He just wanted to get out of it. And he only had it for 2 years. So if I would have only pulled a 7-year list, I would have never got my first deal. Like my first deal wouldn't have been my first deal. So I think you don't want to count everyone out just because they bought the property 2 years ago. I wouldn't do this year at all because if they just bought it, of course, they're not going to want to sell it. Maybe not even last year, but at least 3 years owned. And life after 18. So when you are putting in your list into REI Skip, right? They scrub the litigators, which is people who are lawyers or have a history of like having a lot of lawyers. or whatever. And then your dialer, so I don't know about all the dialers, but Phone Burner does scrub the do not call list. So you don't have to do anything. And that's why I like these softwares so much, because they just do everything for you. If you use REI Sift to stack your lists, they also scrub everything too. Chris the Crisis. People have said so much worse than that to me. FUB was like, I look forward to FUBs. I have been called some really degrading things over the phone, but that is a huge part of the business, guys. People are going to cuss you out. Like, they had a bad day, taking it out on you, and it's okay. Kels. So when choosing market, you want to first check the cash buyer activity in that area, then pull a list to call. Yeah, because if it's like my hometown, Fresno, California, right? I looked up Fresno, California on PropStream. I thought, hey, this might be a good market to wholesale in. You know, I know Fresno. I'm from Fresno, and it's a small town. It's not LA, California, so maybe I'll do good there. And then I looked up how many cash buyers, and I think there was like 6,000 cash buyers. And Fresno's small, but it's not that small. So that gave me a hint right there. There's not a whole bunch of cash buyer and wholesaler activity. It doesn't mean that's not a market that's might be good for somebody. It's just not a market that I'm going to put my energy into, because it's kind of like, why go for something that's going to be harder when there's plenty of other easier markets to start? We're virtual, so we have the luxury of having 50 states and all the cities in all of those 50 states to do. So don't set yourself up for failure picking like somewhere that's too hard just because you want to be like the top dog, that got good in a hard market. If you can, more power to you, and I really hope the best for everybody. Just for me, I like somewhere that's easier. Joe Holanto, no, Phone Burner is not free. It's $150 a month. And the list that you're going to pull from PropStream, if you pull that 1,000, 1,200 list like we talked about, that will probably be about $200 to $250 to skip trace. So now you're looking at about $400, $450 in just to start. And lots of man hours. Sorry, I keep hiccuping. Excuse me. And lots of hours. So yeah. I have 1,000 leads who I'm going to cold call and text. Is that a good enough number to start? Or should I be pulling another 600 within? Oh yeah, Jose, that's good. 1,000 leads who you're going to call and text is great. That's perfect. Ariana, I haven't heard of Pin 5. Let me know what that is in the chat, because that sounds cool. What has my best month been? So my best month was $37,000. It was 3 deals, and it was a good month. I mean, like, it was awesome. That was like kind of like the very beginning of it was my best. So my next best month after that was like 27,000, or like 27 something, like almost 28. So yeah, I mean, I had so many deals I had so many deals that I JV'd with other people where I just made like 1,600, 1,400. I remember in July, I closed one $10,000 deal and like 4 other deals that were tiny. Like one of them was $400, one of them was $800, one was like $1,200. So because of that, I haven't had like a 100K month or anything crazy, but I'm keeping hope alive. Like right now, this is amazing money. I never made money like this in my life, but I still, like, we're in this world. So we're all on YouTube and Instagram, and I see people getting these like $150,000 deals, and I'm like, man, like, how have I done all these deals and I still haven't gotten like a huge one? But it's okay. It's timing, God's timing. It will come to me when it's meant for me. I just cannot wait for like $100,000 month though. Like, I know that will be super life changing, and I'm just gonna stick to what I'm doing to get that. Roland, I wouldn't say people in debt don't pick up numbers they don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying, because they might think it's a creditor or something, but I've had phone conversations with people that were losing their house. They're going through bankruptcy. They owe a lot of people a lot of money. They have liens on their house. You know what I mean? I definitely wouldn't say people in debt don't answer their phone, because a lot of people in debt don't want to be in debt. They want to take care of those things, you know? Um, let's see. Yeah, Carmelia, you don't need a license. He was just saying, do I think we should? And I think we should eventually get licensed before the states that we work in make wholesaling not legal. But it's not necessary right now. So John, he used an American agent who you've trained. So you were cold calling, and you used an American agent who you trained. So with that being said, then yes, everything should be good. You should be able to, if that person's calling 400 to 500 contacts a day, and you have like your list of 1,500 or whatever, however many leads you have, you should be able to figure out. Call that list like 3 times through all the way, and you should be able to figure out from there if it's going to be a good market from you. If you're getting, I would say, you out of a list of 1,000, you should at least be getting 5 or 10 people saying, yes, I want to sell, even if they don't agree to your price. And then from there, you should at least be getting one actual deal. So if you're calling a list of 1,000 or 1,500 and you're not even getting one deal, of course you got to consider the list you pulled. But if you pulled a high equity vacant list and they've owned the property at least 3 years, you should definitely be getting at least one deal out of that. So if you're calling a market and it just seems like everybody you talk to people all day, and they're getting texts and calls all day long, and they don't seem like receptive. If that's the vibe you're feeling from that market, then it maybe not the right market. And just because it's not the right market for you doesn't mean it's not the right market for everyone else. Like I said, I tried Houston and Dallas, and that didn't work out for me. But I see people doing amazing in Houston and Dallas. So sometimes it's just about perseverance. You know, some people, it takes them 8 months to get their first deal. Some people are lucky and they get it in 2-3 weeks. Like, it just depends. I can't tell you like you will get a deal within a month, but I can tell you from my experience, when I test markets and I pull a list, I can tell in the first 2 weeks if it's gonna be for me or not for me. Um, so do I use a CRM for like Podio? See, I'm embarrassed to say I have CRM issues. That's kind of something I'm working on, is getting my Podio to be like very integrated with everything else I use, because I use REI Black Book for dispositions. I use Phone Burner for acquisitions. Then so my CRM is pretty much within Phone Burner and REI Black Book. So REI Black Book has all my dispositions, and the Phone Burner has all my seller leads. And then I use Google Sheets to track like where I am. And then, don't mind my office because it's not like amazing, but then I also use my whiteboard to like track the actual status of closed contracts done. So like once a property is actually under contract, I put it on the board and I keep track of the status of where it's at. Do I need a buyer? Is it in title already? Do I need to do my dispo flow on it? Like, what's going on? So looking at that every single day. I'm very, very visual handwriting person. When I started cold calling, I was writing everything. I would have like pages full of leads front and back, and then I'd have to take pictures of those so I can remember who my leads were. So I was very unorganized. And I'm not really into techie stuff. So I would love like to find like a custom built Podio, someone to just walk me through it, where I just buy it, you show me how to use it. And a couple people have products like that, and they were so confusing and they didn't integrate with Phone Burner. So cry for help. If anybody has a way to help me, I would love to, get a Podio that will get my seller leads from Phone Burner, get them into Podio. Like I won't have to do it manually. And then, get my leads from REI Black Book and everything be integrated. That'd be amazing. If not, I will just keep going deal by deal, tracking everything on sheets and everything until I find that perfect CRM. And you guys don't fight. I was just asking questions to get more information. I don't think anyone is lazy if they choose to hire a cold caller. People are busy. And text blast or whatever. Like, you're busy and you're trying to make this work as a business. That's it. Um, I got laid off. That's why I had all day to sit there and cold call. So I don't I don't know people's situation. Um, so David G, how many calls do you make a day? So the cold call. So now I have two dedicated cold callers, and then I have two friends who kind of like hop in and out of the dialer who are trying to help, kind of trying to learn. And I'm, totally. I really want to help my friends and family quit their 9 to 5s too. So if anyone's interested, and they're my friend and family, I'm like, come on, let's do this. Let's do this. So, but I do save one dialer specifically for my callers, of course, and they call probably about 6 to 800 contacts a day because each of them can call 300-400 each. They usually do 4 hours a day. And that's with phone burner. Phone burner is pretty good. It calls like it rings through and then they answer and you're already on the phone and it's very, very natural. It's very, very authentic, like a real phone call. And that's why I like it. I tried Call Tools and Call Tools will call like 5 different people at once. And when it connects you with one person, then they're like, hello, hello, hello. And you're like, you pop in whenever you pop in, like, hello. And it kind of just seems like a sales call. It's kind of obvious, and a lot of people will hang up. So I didn't like that, which is why I like Phone Burner. You probably can call more if you're using Call Tools. You probably can call like 500-600 a day because it's connecting you. It's calling so many at the same time. But I really like Phone Burner because I like the authentic feel, like I actually called someone. So Jose, I mentioned 6K cash buyers in Fresno and how that isn't enough. I would say at least 30,000, just because to me, the couple markets that have worked for me had like 50 to 60,000 cash buyers, and then they had like under 1 million in population. So it's not a huge city like Vegas, and there's not hundreds of thousands of cash buyers like Vegas and LA, but there's enough for me to have a constant deal flow. If there's 30,000 cash buyers, there might be, 12,000 who bought a property in the last 6 months. So those are going to be more so the people we're marketing to when you're pulling your cash buyers lists for specific properties to market for those specific properties. You're going to be pulling lists of people who bought houses in that area cash in the last 6 months. So that's why it's important to have enough, because depending on the area you're in, you may get a contract and there not be cash buyers in that area. And now you're just ASS'd out. And Roland, any tips on locating owners of zombie properties that are hard to find? I don't have tips on that just because I don't ever look at property by property. I'm pulling huge lists. So once they go in the skip tracing, if a match doesn't come up, if we can't find the number, it kind of just gets tossed to the side. Because my lists are so broad, like I'm doing more of a numbers game thing. If I call 10,000 people, I might get 1,000 leads. I might get 50 contracts. I might close 30 deals. That's kind of like, if I was focusing on properties one by one, like, ooh, that looks like a good house, where's the owner? I feel like it would have taken me way longer to get a deal, because at that rate, you're like going one by one on your deals when you could be attacking 1,000 and finding that one. You know what I mean? So I don't unfortunately have any tips on that because I just haven't wholesaled in that capacity yet. And Joshua, I don't do any on market. I don't do Zillow or anything like that. I market everything direct to seller. So cold calling, text blasting. I've done 2 direct mail campaigns, didn't like them, super expensive. They were both like $800. I got one deal from them, which is good. I'm happy I got that deal. But it was so funny because the person that actually I got the deal from that direct mail campaign was somebody I was leaving RVMs to anyway. So I was attacking them in all ways, which is great. I don't really like direct mail. So between cold calling, which is pretty much my main, SMS, I've gotten 3 deals from, but definitely cold calling. Off market, 100%. And it's Henry. I recommend an absentee vacant list. I recommend an absentee vacant list for your first list, just to make it easy. Another reason why I like vacant is because cash buyers like vacant. You know, if you have a property with nobody living in it, you can do what you want to it, put who you want in it. If you have a rental property with tenants in it, now you have all these other things to work around. So it's really good to get vacant because you will sell those really fast. You're welcome, John. Yeah, and we'll keep talking on Instagram. I do remember our conversation. So, and I think that cold callers, because I want to touch on that again. Cold callers are like an amazing resource. Imagine if you had 5 people calling for you all day. You would be getting so many leads. Another thing is you don't have to pay them all hourly. You can pay some of them commission, especially if they're hungry people who want to do deals. It's like a win-win-win for everybody. So, if you've felt up, felt that was a bad word too. You felt your market's energy and vibes, and you feel like this is where I want to be, and you're calling and you're busy. Hiring a cold caller will help you, especially if it's an American or someone who can actually connect with people. Even if it is someone in the Philippines, my Filipino VA got me leads too that ended up in deals. So I'm not knocking anything or anybody. It's just what's worked best for me. And yeah, on average, what would you say has been your marketing budget since I started compared to now? So when I started, it was very basic. It was the bare bones. I just had the dialer for $150. I had my first list. It's crazy because my first list I ever pulled got me the most deals. And it was the most basic absentee vacant list in the hottest zip code, right? Since then, I pull at least like 4,000 leads a month, whereas before I only pulled, like, my first list was like 1,000, and then skip tracing, that was like a couple $100. So I started totally, and then DocuSign was $20. So I started completely totally for $400, got some deals. Then I went crazy and I started buying all this direct mail and paying for Lead Sherpa for 3 markets, which was like $700. And then I was trying to try batch at the same time to see if their texting was better. So in July and August, I spent like $8,000 marketing, thinking like I'm gonna scale this thing huge now, which isn't, like, I'm not mad at myself or anything. It was ambitious. It just didn't work. So now I pull like about 4,000 new leads a month, and that costs a little under $1,000. And then I have my all my other things I pay for, so just around $3,000 total for marketing a month. I don't pay for like Deal Machine and like those little in between softwares. I think those add up like crazy because I had Deal Machine, I had REI Sift, I had what's not Propelio, but it's another one. I forgot it, but I literally bought everything they had to sell, guys. I did, and then I canceled it. I had everything from batch. I was putting $50 almost every 2 days into my batch SMS. And I was blowing money. So now I really narrowed it down, and honestly, I feel like the more money you spend, the less deals you get, because you're focusing so much attention on how can I get more deals and how can I, buy more things, versus connecting with sellers one by one, which is like what actually gets the deal, right? So definitely spend the most amount of energy and time talking to sellers one by one. And honestly, everything you learn, you're going to learn it in your deals the most. Black Z4L says, does anybody want to JV a deal in Memphis? So anybody in Memphis, Black Z4L, maybe you want to drop your email address or Instagram, or a way for them to contact you outside of YouTube. And if you guys want to, wholesale in Memphis, he's got deals if you've got cash buyers. And that's a big reason why I want to do this too. I want people to connect, and I want to connect. The odds right. Why don't you charge a higher assignment fee? Joe, why don't I charge a higher assignment fee? Good question. Sometimes you can't. Like, sometimes it is what it is. Like, a property is only going to be worth so much, right? So I definitely make as much as I can. And I also want it to be a really good deal for my buyers because on top of me trying to make a bunch of money and be a freaking rich queen, right? I also want to have a brand where people say, wow, they have really good deals. Like, wow, they have really cheap deals. And you know how I know my deals are really cheap and good? Because wholesalers who have cash buyers out of state will JV deals with me all the time. I have so many wholesalers that JV deals with me all the time because I'm selling them at such a low price that another wholesaler can even make money. It can still be a good deal to a cash buyer. So I think that quantity over quality of deals for me was important in the beginning because I wanted to do a bunch of deals and learn. And I got my wish. I did a bunch of little deals and I learned, and now I want to do bigger deals. So I'm definitely doing my best to create a bigger spread, but you have to create that spread through a lower offer, not a higher assignment fee, but a lower offer to the seller because my obligation in the real estate world is to find cash investors great deals and to help sellers who have a problem with their house get rid of that property at a price that will make them happy. Sometimes $20,000 will make them happy, but they really want 27, so they get stuck at 27. It's my job to get them down to 20 or below and allow myself to make that extra money, right? So it's a lot of hard work getting the seller down and getting the buyer up, but I try to create at minimum of a $10,000 spread, and then I add maybe like another 7,000 to like my asking price. So I'll give you an example. I get a property under contract for $15,000. I know there's cash comps from PropStream, which is what I use to make offers. There's cash comps for 33,000. There's cash comps for 28, 25, 33, 36, right? So I know somewhere between 20,000 and 40,000 is like the sweet spot, really 30, right? So if I can get somebody to pay as close as I can to 30 and I have it under contract for 15, that'll be great. So what I will do is I will put the property out for 34,990. Buyers are never going to give you full ask unless it's like an amazing property. I've sold 3 full ask and actually not even 3 full ask, 2 above ask and 1 full ask. All the other deals I've sold have been under ask because what you're asking, people are going to offer less, right? So if I ask for 34,990, they might offer 27. I might say, I need 31, and they might say, I'll give you 29.5, and then we finally meet in the middle. You could read the book Never Split the Difference to get a lot of tips on negotiation on how to get what you want. But at the end of the day, you still want it to be an amazing deal so your buyers keep coming back, right? So that's why I don't try to make a ton of money on every deal. And then there's the little pop-up surprises, right? So you're in a deal, you're like, I'm going to make $15,000. I'm so excited. Closing is in 6 days, and they pull the water bill, and the water bill is $6,000. And the seller's like, no, F that. You said I was walking with 20K. And the buyer's like, no, F that. You said I could buy this for 28K. And you're sitting here like, crap. So it's either make $2,000 or lose the whole deal. So I take my $2,000 and I move on to the next deal. I try, of course, my best to get the seller to understand, this popped up at the last second. Can you please? But if a property's been vacant for 3 years and there was a little water leak, they might not have known about that water leak, and that's been adding up on their account this whole time. This is specific to my market. Every market's different, but this is an issue that's specific to my market that's come up multiple times that's killed my assignment fees. So that's why, like Chris Jefferson always says, it doesn't count till it hits the account. Like, for real, it does not count until it hits your account, because you don't know what's going to pop up as far as liens, water bill, or whatever issues might pop up in your market. In my market, water bill is a really big one. So that's why, some of my spreads have been really small. Things pop up and I want to make everyone happy. Also, that's the type of person I am. I'm an appeaser, working on it, still working on me. Mordecai Miller, you're just joining. PropStream is more than worth it. It's the only tool that I won't say it's the only tool that I use. It's the number one tool that I use to comp properties, to make offers right there on the first call. If you don't have PropStream, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. You don't even have to use my link. go to propstream.com, download it. You need it for wholesaling. I think if you're in Texas, Arizona, California, I think Propelio is supposed to be really, really good. But for the rest of the country, PropStream is amazing. And if you want to use my link, it is in all of my YouTube videos in the link in my bio, and I will get, I think, 10% of your what you pay for your list. So that would be cool. Thank you if you use it. And if not, PropStream is amazing, you guys. You need it. It's free for 14 days, but you can only pull 50 leads with that. So I would use the free 14-day trial to like get to know your market, look how many cash buyers, pick your market. But when you're ready to pull a list, of course, you'll have to pay the $99 and pull your big list. John, so how do I filter my list to not hit the same leads again? So REI Sift is a really good software that you can put all your lists in, and it will stack them, and it will tell you who's on the same lists. And that's what I use. At first, I wasn't doing anything at all. I was just calling the same people over and over. But once I realized I'm wasting money getting the same person skip traced 7 times a year, I got REI Sift, and I think it's worth it. It's $50 a month. Not gonna lie, guys, don't tell the guy who owns it, but I got it. I put all my lists there. I made sure it was stacked, and then I just canceled the membership. But don't, I just don't feel like spending a bunch of money on things I don't need. Mr. Medina, my criteria on choosing markets, we talked about that in the beginning. And then I also have another YouTube video about picking your virtual market. So I would say watch that just because I don't want to go all the way back. We're already halfway through and we're on marketing. So yes, all my deals are off market deals. Let's see. Yes, share your contact information. Where is the best place to pull a list? PropStream. Okay. And what's so funny is like, never mind. PropStream's awesome, guys. Okay, Joe. Now we're moving on. So we talked about marketing, texting, cold calling. All right. Now Joe asked a very good question that is going on to the next part of this, right? How do you estimate repair costs virtually? All right. So my favorite thing to talk about is cash comps. So I don't look up repair costs. I mean, I will. So you can always Google average cost of mold removal, average cost of lead-based paint removal, average cost of paving a driveway with cement, like whatever. You can always Google, and then it'll tell you the average cost per square feet, and you can calculate things like that. And that's what I did in the beginning. I was super slow, one by one, everything. And I think the reason why you're even asking, how do you estimate repair costs, is so you can come up with an offer or an ask price, right? Because the cash buyers, they want to know the ARV, they want to know repairs, and they want to know your ask price. So it can make sense. I don't estimate repair costs because 99% of the time I'm able to look on PropStream, cash comps, see what people are paying in the area, and then make my offer less than that, offer the property up to cash buyers at around where the cash comps are, and then I let the buyers go ahead and walk the property and tell me what they think the repair estimates will be. And how I come up with the cash comp, obviously there's different cash comps for different condition. I go to the absolute lowest, and usually the absolute lowest is like a total gut house in my market. So I find the total gut house, and if that total gut house sold for like $7,000, and then there's another house that has, all the drywall's in place, but it's just really old, it needs a new kitchen, bath, flooring, and everything like that, that's kind of like my medium. Okay, so if that total gut house sold for $6,000 and the okay house sold for $17,000, now I know that's what cash buyers are willing to pay for those types of properties, right? What's my property like? What's my subject property like? Is it a total gut, or is it kind of okay? If it's kind of okay, I will anchor lower than the total gut price. So I'll tell them, hey, I see that property over there sold for $6,000. hear what they have to say. They might be like, oh no, my house is at least worth 20, and find out how much they think it's going to cost to repair. 9 times out of 10, they've already had bids because they've had this property, it's theirs. They'll tell you, well, it needs 30,000. And you can either go off of that, or you could just go off the cash comps. So you can say, well, a property similar to yours sold for 15,000, but yours needs a lot more work. Or you could say a property similar to yours sold for 6,000, but yours is in a little better shape. Best I can do is 12. Best I can do is 11. Best I can do is 7,900, whatever, right? And then that's kind of how you anchor your price low enough. And then you look at what did the cash buyer buy it for, and you market it at a little bit higher than that. You really don't need to know repair costs if you're able to use this formula. Now, that doesn't always work. Sometimes you're in an area that there's not a lot of cash comps, and you have to use Zillow, and you have to use PropStream and retail comps, and you kind of do have to know repair costs, right? So I got this little chart from Jerry Norton. He's like one of those YouTube wholesalers. And basically the chart is like, and if you YouTube how to estimate repair costs, you'll see this. It's a Jerry Norton video. Basically, it's like for a light rehab under 1,500 square feet, it's a chart. It'll say 15K. And then over 2,000 square feet, 50, 25K. So it's a chart like that. I've literally only had to use that twice ever. And that was just kind of like a rough estimate. But typically, people know how much the repair costs are, but I use cash comps because it really doesn't matter what your repair costs are. That's something else I want to touch upon. After dealing with so many buyers, I can say, hey, repairs are going to be around 30 grand. And they might go in there and be like, you're crazy. The repairs are going to be 65,000. Even if I had a contractor actually look at it, because a big part of flipping houses and fixing up houses is the crew you have. It's the crew you have, your personal crew. Do you get your materials cheap? Do you get your labor cheap? Are you hiring someone off of Google who's going to charge you 7 times the premium? You just don't know what your cash buyer's repair costs are actually going to be. So I always leave it to the buyer's discretion. And I always make sure I get the deal low enough for there to be a huge spread for the buyer and myself. Yes, everybody. Brandon Jackson. Josh Altman says the deal isn't done until the money clears in your bank account. 100%. So how to send a deal to the buyer the right way. I love REI Black Book because it makes your dispositions process super professional. They have amazing email templates. They have amazing single property websites. I wonder if I can show you one. Let me show you if I can show you on my phone. Because it's not. So REI Black Book, once you put your property in there, you put your pictures in there, it will create little a website. It'll have the picture. It has a button for comps. It has all that. It has the price. It literally has everything. You put the information in, it organizes it for you. This is a really nice professional way to send your buyers property details. They can just go on the website. They can click comps. They can click analysis. They can click around, look at all the pictures. They don't need to ask you any questions after that. So that's why I love REI Black Book. They also have really good email templates. It email blasts. It does ringless voicemail blasts. It's $200 a month. It's expensive, I know, but it's worth it because if you don't have a lot of leads, it's not really worth it because you have the time to create these templates for yourself. But like me, now it's not just wholesaling, right? I'm doing YouTube and I'm helping people and stuff. So I don't have a lot of time. So throwing the property in there, putting the addresses of the comps, it pulls up automatically, all the details about those comps. Now you have your comp analysis, you have your pictures, you have your details about the property, all in one nice professional place. You can email blast it, and then you can get the website link, And you can send that to everyone on Facebook. So on Facebook, I'll advertise a property in those investment groups and I'll say, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, house in this zip code or this area, needs medium rehab. And that's what I say. I say light, medium, or full when I talk about rehabs. I never say needs 30K rehab. I say needs light rehab, needs medium rehab, needs full rehab. And DM me for details. Usually they'll drop their email. If they drop their email, I'll add them to my email list. I'll email blast them. If they DM me, I will send them the link, and it's just perfect. It works out perfectly. And I think that's like a really nice professional way to do it. You can do the same thing on Google Docs. You can create a document. You can put your LLC name at the top, a nice picture of the house, all the details and everything, and you can email blast that through MailChimp for free. So that's a way to do it for free. It takes more time, but you definitely want to look professional. Don't be like, send the address, 20K, here's one picture. Like, no, you want to give them as much information as you can. You want your boots on the ground to get really good pictures before you start advertising the deal. And you want to make sure you have access. Like, that's a huge key. If you don't have access to the property, do not market that deal. If you don't know how the buyers are going to walk into that house, do not market that deal yet. Figure that out first. Whether the seller has to show up and open the door and meet your boots on the ground there to make sure that the buyers don't talk to the seller. If the seller has to give you a key for a lockbox, if the seller has to unlock the door and let them walk it, whatever, figure out how your buyers are going to walk the property, because as soon as you start marketing your deal, the first thing that's going to come up is pictures and access. That's all people want to know. They want pictures, they want access. So that's really important. Do I sometimes go around the listing agent and just skip trace the owner? No, because if the agent has it under contract, if they have it under an exclusive listing agreement, I will be wasting my time because the realtor still has to get paid no matter what. Their listing agreement is a binding contract. Plus, I have integrity, and I'm not going around anyone. I'm not going around wholesalers. I'm not going around realtors. If this is your deal, you're going to make money on it just like me. There's so many instances where I see other people's deals and then they end up not selling them because of this, that, or the other. And I don't go behind them and I don't go find the seller because I wouldn't like that if someone did that to me, right? So why would I treat other people how I would not like to be treated? I might make a little bit less money having integrity in life. I'm okay with that. How or where can I get a good contract? On Facebook groups, or you can go on my Gumroad. It's $25 for mine. Just make sure that you, when you get your first deal, send the contract to the title company and say, hey, am I missing something? Just in case in your state there needs to be, a certain clause. Like I know some places require a lead-based paint disclosure or whatever to close, like they actually need certain documents, right? So make sure that your market is not one of those, just by verifying your contracts with the title company. Yes. Okay. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. I'm just reading through. Oh gosh, you guys are funny. Okay. Have you met any home remodelers, appraisers themselves? Would I work with appraisers? Yeah, no. So a lot of these cash buyers that you talk to are going to show up with an inspector, like a real inspector. So that's kind of the cool part. Like I had a deal where I thought, oh, this is a slam dunk deal or whatever. And some buyers went and they were skeptical. They didn't really have good feedback for me. And then this one guy went with his inspector and they gave me like a super detailed inspection report. And I finally figured out why everyone was scared of the property was because there was this like, what is it called? A load-bearing beam in the basement that was like rotting. So not only would they have to take the load-bearing beam down and like cut into the ceiling, they'll have to have like this machine to hold the house up while they change the beam. That's super expensive. It's like a $40,000 job. So here I am thinking, oh, this house is cosmetic, light rehab, cosmetic. No, there was like some big serious work, and winter's approaching. No one wanted to do that work. So yeah, Kenneth, definitely. I personally, in the beginning, I had I paid a guy $125 to give me a scope of scope of work for a wholesale deal, which was so silly. I spent a lot of money in the beginning not knowing. You really just need photos, though. If you have photos, that's good enough for cash buyers to go ahead and send their inspector. You want them to spend their money on the inspection because at the end of the day, you're trying to create the most profit for yourself. HubSpot, MailChimp to create squeeze pages. So there's another couple. And Brand, yeah, I used REI Sift to stack as well. And then I pulled that list out and I called it my super list. And that's the one I'm just spending a little bit of time trying to cold call whenever I have time because I still want to have as many like deals to myself without any other hands on them, if that makes sense. Because the last deal I closed on November 30th was like my last deal that I got by myself. Everything else I have like an acquisitions person. So spread the wealth, of course, but I still want to, reach out and get a couple deals on my own so I can keep more profit, of course. Zave or Zave. Yeah, I will save this live. So Joe, well, I thought you need to know the repair cost to know your maximum allowable offer with the formula ARV times 70% minus repair cost minus assignment fee. So yeah, I don't like using that formula because it's not accurate in every market. Because say like, okay, in Ohio, ARV might be 160K. That ARV might be like retail, obviously retail sales, right? Cash buyers are buying properties in that area for 20, 30,000. So that whole 70% minus repairs wouldn't work at all. And I learned that quickly. And that's why I use the cash buyers filter. So in PropStream, if you look up an address and you look at the comparables and you go to public record sale situation and you click cash buyer, that will give you the actual accurate information of how much cash buyers are really paying. That honestly makes the whole formula obsolete, right? And then you got to think like who created the formula? They were the Arizona wholesaler. The first time I saw that formula was from like the Clever Investor, Jerry Norton, TTP, like all those people who are in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona. That's an expensive market. That will work there because if someone gets a deal at 70, 60% of ARV minus repairs, that's amazing, right? Not in Ohio. In Ohio, you could get a deal for 50% of ARV and it's still a bad deal. You have to know what are people paying, because if you don't look at the cash buyers filter and you go advertise a deal, first of all, you're going to lose all credibility. People are going to be like, this person doesn't know what they're doing. That area doesn't ask for that amount of money. And that's what I see a lot of new wholesalers doing when they enter the markets that I'm in. You can tell they're using that formula and it just doesn't work everywhere. If you're in a place like Vegas, Scottsdale, California, like definitely 70% of ARV minus repairs would work. But in high rental markets, in very distressed or like cheaper markets, using cash comps works nationwide. So I think that focusing on that has been a key too as well. Mortgage debt. My Instagram is vhotwholesale. So Kels, so that is actually how I make an offer over the phone. I do run comps while I'm on the phone with them. So my method kind of when I'm cold calling or following up with the warm lead is just chit chat, right? Chit chat first. And obviously I can talk a lot. I'm a chatterbox. And I'm just like talking all about my family, talking about their life, getting to know them. And while I'm doing that, I'm like comping on PropStream. So it's multitasking. So I'm pulling it up on PropStream, looking at the cash comps, putting my filters in, thinking about how much I can offer them. We might talk about the house a little. We might be talking about life a little. And during that time is when I come up with a good number. And I never offer first. My whole thing is, what is your magic number? Like, what's the number that if you sold, you'd be like, okay, I'm good to go today. Like, I'm ready to go. And that's how I get their number first. Usually that number is too high. And then I go in and I go back and I say, well, I'm just looking in the neighborhood and I see this property sold for anchor number, which is the lowest selling house. I don't care if it's not even really a comp. If it's like, say, my subject property is a 3-bedroom and that one's a 2-bedroom, it doesn't really matter because they're not going to be looking on Zillow right then and there. Like, I see this property on Harold Street sold for $6,000. I wonder what happened there. Okay. And I'm looking and I'm getting their feedback. And as soon as you say that, if it's way too low, they're going to be like, oh, no way. That's crazy. But you anchored a really low number. So anything above that is going to be better than that, right? And that's when you say, like, oh, well, I wasn't offering you that. I was just, seeing these properties in your neighborhood. I think based on the condition you're telling me, I see this one. It just needs like kitchen, bath, light remodeling, like you told me yours does. And this one sold for 17,000, and they might have told you they want 27, and they'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. And now you're kind of getting closer to a number you guys can both agree on. You don't really want to ever offer because you're giving them the opportunity to say no. You want to leave everything open, like we're talking about it. We're having this flow of conversation about it. Like, what's the number? Like, what are we kind of trying to get to? Like a conversation between two people. If they know exactly what they want and they're like, I don't want anything under 30,000, which is a lot of people are like that. Then you see if you can do it. If you can, cool. If you can't, you can't, and you move on to the next deal. Every deal is not a deal. Like we were talking about before, if you get 10,000 leads and 1,000 of them say, yeah, I want to sell, 50 might sign the contract and 30 deals might close. So don't waste too much time trying to force a deal to be a deal, but always make your offer. Even if they want 100 grand and you can only offer 10, you still make your offer because you never know. Kenneth, legality of wholesaling by location totally depends on the location. Some places it's illegal. Do I include access to the property in my contract so the buyers can get inside? Or do I have boots on the ground at a lockbox? So I have boots on the ground at a lockbox if the seller is okay with that. And that's why I like vacant properties, because typically they are okay with that if they're vacant. And then if they have a tenant or somebody living in there, then I just have to schedule showings. So I schedule all my buyers to meet my boots on the ground at that property at a specific time, and he'll stay for like an hour and a half and show everyone and make sure nobody talks to the seller. So that's how I handle properties that have tenants in them. Roland, I heard a guru say he doesn't allow for a buyer inspection because the responsibility is to perform with the seller, so there's no backing. Well, that guru must, if you have a lot of money, you have the luxury to do that. If you have $1 million, right, spending $100 on your own inspection isn't gonna like make you blink. But I don't think it's fair for someone to teach other people to do things the way they do it, and they're a rich person and you're not. We're here. Some people here in this live right now don't have any money. Some have maybe 100,000, some have 50, some have $200 to their name. We're all on different levels. So I really think it's important to give advice that someone could do at any level. I think you should at least have $500 if you're going to start this business, just so you can pull your list, have your dialer, and actually get started in the best way possible. So if you don't have $500, work, mow lawns, do whatever you have to do to scrape up that money and then put it into your business. But if I saw, like for me right now, right, if there is a property that someone's willing to let go for like 5 or 10,000, I'm like, oh my God, this is such a great deal. I'm going to hurry up and try to close on it. I wouldn't even be too concerned with the dispositions process until I get my hands on it and then I have it, so like I might hurry up and do a quick claim deed or try to push it through title and get it myself. In the meanwhile, I'll be advertising to buyers. My responsibility is to perform with the seller, but I can't always do that. I can't buy all these properties. So that wouldn't make sense. I think that's a nice idealistic thought though. What real estate Facebook groups are you in? Good question. I am in wholesaling houses for newbies, wholesaling houses underground, wholesaling houses supercharged, wholesaling houses elite, Quentin Flores, I think he just started a new one yesterday, and it's like this wholesaling house's cold call something, and he put like so much PDFs in them, and some of them are like really, really good. Some of them are like kind of generic things, but that's a really cool new one. The one I created for like everyone who took my class was the virtual wholesaling mastermind, but I haven't been putting like a ton of time into that. So it's kind of become people asking and answering each other's questions. But those are really good Facebook groups to join. And then, of course, market specific. So, like if you're in Milwaukee, Milwaukee Real Estate Investment Club, Milwaukee Real Estate Investors. Do, do, do. I wanted to become a wholesaler to get rich, and not your average seven-figure rich. I mean, eight-figure rich. Me too. Me too, Kenneth. Me too. Eight, nine, 10-figure rich, right? No, for real. I don't know if it's just going to be just wholesaling that gets us all there, but I think wholesaling is an amazing start. If you could make 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a month, that for sure will add up. Have you ever done a deal where the seller needed more than 30 days because they need to find another home? I haven't actually. I haven't done that yet. Reading questions. Kels, yeah, I do recorded calls all the time. There's a link in my Instagram bio, and I do consultations with people who are just starting. I think if you're just starting, like you have no knowledge whatsoever, like how I'm kind of outlining this, but this is more like a back and forth. But I have like a presentation that I did. Initially, it was like 20 people, and out of those 20, like seven have already closed their first deal. I would say the other 13 probably didn't take action, just to be honest. But a lot of people from that first initial like beta group, I could call it, have reached out to me and been like, this happened in my life, this happened in my life. Because when we started, we were like a tight group, and I was like, hey guys, we're going to do this and let's really all work really hard and get our deal. So the people who really went with it, they have, and I'm sure some are in here right now. And that was an awesome little group of people in the beginning. And I recorded that Zoom conference where I literally go over everything from picking your virtual market, marketing, and I show you like all the systems and softwares I use and how I text blast and how I skip trace and literally going through everything. And it's $100. So I've had a lot of feedback. People have bought like $5,000 classes, and they haven't got as much applicable information as is in our virtual wholesaling training, just because mine is just straight to the chase, like how I'm just telling you guys facts right now. It's the whole thing. So if you've never started and you need somewhere to start, I would take that. It's 4 hours. I would watch it, take notes, and I would watch it again and make sure I pull my list right, test my market right, and just get a good start, a good foot forward. I wouldn't spend money on like consultations or anything like that until my business is actually started. I have some leads, I have some issues. Most of the education and the learning you guys are going to do is going to be within the deal. So now I've done a lot of deals, right? So now I'm looking for something next level. Like I went in October to San Antonio to Quentin and Aaron Bevins' wholesaling training for like, it was one day, and it was amazing, and it made me like crave like higher level information. So now I'm looking for like those type of groups to join, maybe conferences to go to and stuff like that. But I've already done deals. If you've never done a deal before, don't waste a bunch of money on education. Get engrossed in calling and texting and talking to sellers every day so you can actually move forward towards making a deal. The action is what's going to get you paid, not the education. So once you guys actually get started and are in a market and calling and you're seeing different issues arising, that's a good time to book a one-on-one consultation because you have a business to work around, to plan, to solve problems in. But if you're just brand new starting, it's going to be a conversation like this where I'm like, pull a list, skip trace, and that information is much better in the recorded version because you can go back and watch it over and over again. I'm working on right now creating like a very longer one where it's all broken down by subject and you can just click chapter by chapter. But that's going to take a lot of work because I've learned a lot in that time. Code violations, divorce, probate, like all those things that I didn't know before and I know now is information I'm going to have to integrate into it. So that's going to take me some time. But like for right now, if you guys are just ready to get started virtually wholesaling, everything on my YouTube is free and you can definitely use that and start. If not, the crash course is $100 and it's more than worth it. It has too much gems, applicable information. You can actually start tomorrow, Monday morning. So Kenneth, like I love everything you're talking about. Mixed use skyscrapers. I want to have like apartment buildings. And then like my dream is to have an island where I do like luxury vacations. I know because I'm like obsessed with luxury stuff. Like if I could just live in like those Instagram vacation pictures where it's like goose down sheets and it's just overlooking this crazy mountain view with an ocean down there. And like if I could live somewhere like that, I know I would be in paradise. So I want to create like a paradise, but also it be a business. So I'd love to have like a luxury vacation little island and celebrities and super rich people come and vacation there, but then my family's there like chilling, living their luxury life. So that's like ideal. Q, what's up? I've talked about you like 7 times on this already, so everybody see Quinton Flores. Go follow him because it's an amazing resource, and his group Wholesaling Houses Ground Zero on Facebook is an amazing resource. And those scripts are amazing. That REM one was kind of funny. I really read all of those last night too, Q. I was going through that whole entire, every PDF you were dropping, I was really going in there reading them like, okay. I like how you said female voice only. I have a lead where the owner is downsizing but is asking for way too much. Almost 20 years old. You can always offer like seller financing or like subject to and stuff like that if they're asking way too much. But honestly, a lot of times when people come to me with that issue, like someone's asking way too much, I just have to tell them like every deal is not a deal, And yes, I have boots on the ground videos. Janice, you can get the crash course on my Instagram. Link is in the bio. It's on Gumroad. Actually, I'll just drop it right here too. I put my whole link tree right here, so then you guys can get the course, the contracts, access to my YouTube channel. I do have my script on there for free. Kind of like a script training kind of thing. And that's very helpful. So, okay. We talked about marketing. Talked a little bit about negotiation. So we picked our market, we cold called and we texted, we talked to sellers. Someone said, yes, I want to sell, right? Someone said, yes, I want to sell my house. So we sent our boots on the ground to take pictures. We got pictures, we got access, we got the contract, we're ready to go, right? So now we got to sell this thing. So now we got to sell this thing. It's exciting. You're excited. You're manifesting, but where do you go? Where do you start? So I go back to Kawana. Yes, my course explains how to fill out the contracts using DocuSign, and HelloSign is the same, so you can use either one. But I use DocuSign, so I will actually walk you through every single thing. Walk you through pulling a list, skip tracing that list, sending the contract, everything like that. So at this point in our fake deal that we're talking about, now we're trying to sell the deal. So my first thing is I try to sell the deal for free. I try not to spend any money. So I post it on Craigslist, I post it on Facebook, and I blast it to my cash buyers list that I've already built. A way to build a quick cash buyers list is going to those Facebook groups in your markets and copying and pasting the cash buyers emails from other posts. So say you're in San Antonio's real estate investment club Facebook and someone has a good deal on there and 50 people drop their email. It's tedious, but you're going to copy and paste every single email address into a Google Sheet or however you're tracking and save those cash buyers for yourself. So when you do get your first deal, you have a small list. I did that, and my first little list was like 80 something people that I was able to copy and paste out of those Facebook groups. And I got my first deal from one of them. So it was a free marketing method, you know? Craigslist, posting the deal on Craigslist every single day, sometimes twice a day. That works better for your cheaper deals, but it'll work for any deal. And I do those free methods. I give it a couple days. And then if I don't get enough feedback or people wanting to view the property, it gives me an idea that either um, either I might have got it under contract too high, or I haven't reached the cash buyers in that area through Facebook and Craigslist, right? So now back to the basics. Get on PropStream. Get in that neighborhood, you know, that zip code, that specific area. Find all the cash buyers who have bought 2 or more properties. There is a website called Cash Buyer Data Feed. It's actually Real Estate Wealth Network. And you can put in the property address, put in within a mile of that property, people who have bought 2 or more properties. And then it has some phone numbers in it. I have mixed feelings because you can't copy and paste from the website. You have to like manually type it in. So I was paying like a VA from Fiverr to do that for me, and I was paying her like $50, and I didn't really feel like it was worth it, but it's something that I think with consistency would definitely be worth it. I just didn't feel like it was worth it, so I started just pulling the cash buyer list from PropStream and text blasting it. And in my text blast, I'd say, "Hey, my name's Chris. I'm a landlord, and I have 2 properties on the west side that I'm looking to sell. Are you interested?" Um, I know that's soliciting, but it's just like the way I'm trying to word it is like, I'm a landlord, I'm trying to sell these properties before I move. Do you know anyone who wants to buy a property? Like, kind of like that. And they don't really know who you are, but they know that they're on a bunch of lists because they're cash buyers. So they might ask you for access and they might go check it out. So I have sold some deals like that from cash buyers list from PropStream, but I only do that after I cannot find a free way to sell it like Facebook groups and Craigslist. The thing about Facebook groups and Craigslist though, you might be accepting a lower spread because you're not getting the direct cash buyer all the time. A lot of time you're getting other wholesalers. So it's something to keep in mind. Kevin McCoy, will I be a part of the cold calls with Q, Chris, and Keith? No, I don't think so. I'm so not on that level. And I really appreciate you even saying that. Lots of love. But no, those dudes are like millionaires. Probably. I don't know. But probably. I'm still like a regular person trying to make it, you know? So yeah, Jose, soliciting or not, right? And then I don't say, "Hey, this is Toddy from Offer George." I'm like, "Hey, I'm Tanya. I got this house, you know, somebody who might want it." And if you word it the right way, like, "I have this house on the west side for 20K. Do you know who's looking to buy a deal?" They usually will be like, "No, but I might have somebody," and they might send you an email or phone number or call this person. And I really do call that person, and it does work and it has helped. So you can copy from cash buyer's data feed by clicking print. Wait, what? See, this is awesome. Thank you so much. And I was about to go look at it right now, but I'm not going to do that. I will do that later. But I'm going to try that. Thank you so much. You might have changed part of my dispositions process. So that's very exciting to know I can copy from there. So now you've marketed your deal, right? And the cash buyers are probably asking for access, asking for pictures. A couple good things, a couple little gems. Make sure you know who's going to the property when. I've had people steal the keys out the lockbox. I've had people steal the keys out the lockbox and then sell the quit claim deed to that property, a fake quit claim deed to that property, and give somebody the key to the house. And that person thought they were the owner of the house and they got scammed out of that money because I'm not there. I can't sit at the house and make sure no one steals the key from the lockbox. So it's very important when you're giving out that lockbox code, you're asking them, when are you going to go? Oh, I'm going to go tomorrow. Okay, let me know before you go and I'll give you the code. If they're going to go at 3 p.m. and then you have another buyer that comes at 6 p.m. and the key's not there, you know who took it. So it's important to keep track of who's looking at your properties when, because you don't want the keys to get stolen. Another thing people will like to do is they'll like to take the keys when they want the deal really bad because they don't want anyone else to look at it. And that's a definite no-go. And you have to be really firm and you have to be like, look, I know you want this deal. I hope we can come to an agreement. But right now, other buyers are still looking and I still am taking other offers. So if you don't put the key back, I will rekey it and I will never work with you. And if you're somebody who has a lot of good deals, they're going to be like, okay. If they're a complete a-hole, like I've had to have property rekeyed again, which was $120 and it was unfortunate, but yeah, it's just part of the business, hopefully you don't have any a-holes like that. Now, if somebody wants to buy your deal, it's super important to make sure that they are ready to put the earnest money down. If they're another wholesaler, they might lead you on and try to say they're a cash buyer, but when it comes time to perform, they're not going to perform. So I had that issue where I JV'd a deal with somebody that I thought was going to help me sell the deal, and I trusted him. He was, a person that seemed genuine, and I'm not saying he's not. But what it turned out to be was the cash buyer he had was another wholesaler. And that wholesaler was marketing the property to other people. So it was a situation where there was so many wholesalers in on the deal, and I was unaware because I thought this whole time he was a cash buyer. And this was in the beginning, so I wasn't as strict with my earnest money rules. And I let the deal go on for like 2 weeks without verifying that the earnest money was even given to title because I kept giving them extra time. Well, when closing day came around, actually a few days before closing day, I called and I was like, did they even ever put the earnest money down? They said no. And I called the guy and he's like, we're closing though. We didn't put the earnest money in, but we're closing in a couple days. So let's just do it. Well, of course, on closing day, they didn't perform because they never found a buyer. And they don't care about wasting your time and you losing your deal. So you have to really have your own back in this game. A lot of people will want to JV your deals because they are too lazy to look for their own. You got to stay away from those type of people. You got to stay away from the people who hit you up every week like, got any deals? Got any deals? Like, no, I'm selling my deals. Thank you. And that's really important because I feel like if you're a hardworking person in general in life, there's going to be a lot of people looking to take advantage of that because they're not hardworking people. And you have to watch your back for those type of people. And when you're JVing, you have to make sure you're JVing with someone who works equally as hard as you. And that is like my biggest thing is when I assign this contract to you, you should be ready to put the earnest money down within 24 hours of signing this assignment contract. Period. And in my assignment contract, it says if earnest money is not deposited within 24 hours of signing this agreement is null and void. So they can't say anything about it. It's in the contract. On DocuSign, they have this handy little button that says void. It voids it and you're done with them. And I don't care if I have to assign it to you 3 different times. Like if you don't put the money down within 24 hours, it's void. And I'm shopping it and I'm not going to stop shopping it. I'm going to continue to take backup offers after I have it assigned because you never know what that person you assigned it to is going to do. A good scenario. I had a deal. It was a really good deal. People were going crazy over it. Everybody was trying to get me to send them the assignment. And I was waiting for the best offer. Well, one of my JV partners had an offer for $37,000. Which was $6,000 more than the offer that I had by myself, which was $31,000. So in this scenario, I would have made the exact same assignment fee had I sold it to my buyer for $31,000 as I would if I split the JV deal with my JV partner for $37,000. So I said, you know what? Why not have more people make money on this? Why be selfish and sell it to my buyer? Let me let this guy make some money too. There's enough money for everyone. Let's do it, right? Send them the assignment. 24 hours passed. No money, no response. I'm texting, I'm calling, nothing. Voided. Go back to my guy. Hey, 31,000. I had an offer for 37. They're taking too long. What's up? I'm still down to do it for 31. What's up? Okay, let's do it. He goes ahead and puts the earnest money down ASAP. But the title company, like, it was, the earnest money was sitting there in a folder, but they didn't assign it to my actual thing. So when I checked with them if the earnest money was in, they were like, oh no, it's not in yet. So they kept telling me it wasn't in, but he had already sent me the receipt. So I knew there was some issue going on. But who's coming back trying to bang my door down? The people who offered 37,000. And now it was to the point where I'm arguing with them over the phone because they're like, how could you do that? You didn't give us enough time. We were moving, we were doing this and that. And it's like, I totally understand you were going through things in your life, but the contract said 24 hours. I've had so many situations where people told me they were cash buyers and they were just shopping it around, which is why I have to do this in my business to protect my deals. And of course, they had a cash buyer and they were other wholesalers. And what happened was their cash buyer was finally ready to put the money down. And now that's why they're banging my door down. They were time wasters. I mean, if their buyer would have bought, cool, awesome. But they weren't upfront with me. They said they're the buyers. And that's the thing. Like, when I talk to buyers, I ask them, are you the cash buyer or do you have buyers? And I'm totally open to JV and I'm totally open to working with you. But let me know so I know. Because if I have a real buyer, I want to sell it to them myself. Like, I don't want to go through a bunch of wholesalers if I don't have to, you know? So that's really important. After I started doing that 24-hour EMD, my business has been going so much smoother, a lot less stress. Even though I have to be that mean person to tell them no sometimes, sorry, 24 hours passed, we have to do another assignment, I got a higher offer, whatever. It is what it is. Like, these are the terms of our contract and you should read them. Brandon, you make your JV contracts non-assignable. That's very smart. That's very smart. Do you do multiple deals at once as in have multiple contracts? Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have 10 going on right now. See, I'm doing Christmas presents on the floor. Like, please excuse the mess, but I have actually 9 because one of them, the seller didn't want to sell anymore. So I have 9 deals going on right now. And like I told you guys though, 50 contracts, 30 closed. Like, the ratio, like, just because I get a contract, it doesn't mean it's a deal that's going to go down, but I'm going to do my 100% best to sell it. And I'm trying to get better at my ratio. But I think, you know, everyone has their own little struggles in their business. Depending on the ARV of your deal, you should ask for a larger earnest money deposit. That weeds out the dodgy buyers. Yeah, for sure. Like, if it's over 100K, I ask for like 2,500. If it's like a little cheap $10,000-$20,000 property, I ask for like 500. And then I always make it more than what I offer. What I put in my purchase contract, like if I tell the seller I'm going to put 500 down, I'll have the end buyer put 1,000 down or 1,500. That way, if they don't close, I still make a little something, you know? Who does the EMD go to? Typically, it goes to the title company. I have had 2 people send me EMD cash because the deals were just so hot and it was the weekend and they didn't want to wait until Monday because they were scared that I was going to sell the deal. So those 2 people Zelled me, but not everyone is comfortable with Zelling. Like, some people who've bought a lot of properties in the past only work with title companies. They only work in certain ways. So that's fine with me. I don't care if it's going to the title company as long as it's non-refundable. They've done their inspection. They have no contingencies. Like, as long as I know that earnest money in title is mine, then I'm happy to let them send the earnest money to the title company. If not, then not. Will, I haven't even been wholesaling for a whole year, so I will tell you in May how much I made in a year. It's only been, wow, I can't believe it's only been like half a year. This feels like I've been doing real estate forever, honestly, because real estate moves fast. So projected maybe like 170, hopefully, unless I get like a really crazy fat deal. I want to get like $100,000 deal. So I'm going to say I make $500,000 a year minimum, because I still got 6 months left for it to be a full year. So we shall see, or 5 months and some change. So we'll see how much I made my first year pretty soon here. But I just started. Thanks, Will. No, so I didn't go to school to learn wholesaling, but I'm 26 now. When I was 19, I went to real estate school here in Vegas, and I got my real estate license. So I just got like basic real estate knowledge there, and then didn't do nothing with that. And then the knowledge I got from wholesaling was actually from YouTube and following Quinton Flores, Chris Jefferson, Max Maxwell, Khan from Wholesale to Millions. His YouTube is very helpful for me. TTP's YouTube was helpful for cold calling tips and stuff. And I literally would just sit on my phone or on the computer for like 12 hours a day watching YouTube. I would call people in the morning, and then I'd watch some more YouTube. If I had any issues, I would hit up. I met this guy. So this guy named Lawrence Lawfuller on Instagram. He's really, really knowledgeable about real estate. He came into my restaurant that I was a waitress at a couple of years ago, and he left his business card, and it said real estate problem solver, and it had his Instagram. So I went on there and I followed him, and I saw that he flips houses. I was like, oh, that's awesome. How'd you get started doing that? And he told me, well, I started out wholesaling. And I'm like, wholesaling? I heard about that back then when I got my real estate license. I also heard about wholesaling at that time. And I actually had put out a couple bandit signs when I was 19, literally probably two, because I thought I was going to try to wholesale, but nothing else after that. It was just one of those, passerby things. But when this guy at my restaurant said, oh, he started out wholesaling, he wholesaled for 2 years and then started doing the BRRRR investing using financing to flip properties. I was like, dang, that's what I want to do. And he's like, yeah, start off wholesaling, build a little capital, and then you'll have a little money for down payments to flip houses. So that was the whole idea behind wholesaling. Like, okay, maybe I'll just wholesale, make 50, 20 grand and start using that money towards flipping houses, which is still the idea. But I also follow those guys like Chris Jefferson. He's always saying like, right now isn't the time to be like trying to do all these flips because COVID and everything, and to focus on like either small cosmetic flips or to just wholesale because you can make the money up front. So trying to take that advice, I just continued wholesaling, and I've got one rental property so far, a triplex. I got that with a partner in Ohio, and I've just been wholesaling since then. I've closed 18 deals. A lot of them were JV deals, a little under 100 grand in assignment fees, a little over 80 to me. Just so you guys know my numbers, I'm totally transparent. I can show you guys the bank deposits and stuff like that. Everyone always talks about HUDs. That's something else I want to talk about. I've never got a HUD. Like, I have never got a HUD statement. The one time I got a HUD statement was when I bought the rental property. So I don't know if it's an Ohio thing, but on the bank deposits, it says wire transfer assignment fee for this property. So whatever, same difference. But it's just funny that everyone's always like talking about HUD statements. Like, where do they give you HUD statements for wholesaling? I would really love to know. Because apparently I'm the only one not getting them. But what made me get started? So when the whole coronavirus thing happened, I was serving at an Italian restaurant on the Strip called La Pizza La Pasta. It's so good. If you guys come to Vegas, you have to eat there, and hit me up because we can go eat together, and because I'll eat there every day. But I was working at that restaurant. I met Lawrence. He told me about wholesaling. We were cool for about a year, and he kept telling me whenever I would be like, I'm so sick of working, he'd be like, get into wholesaling, and I'd be like, I will one day, and I wouldn't. And then I got laid off. And when I got laid off, it was March 11th, and I was in my spring semester because I'm still going to college, not a college graduate, guys. I'm not even a dropout. I'm just like a perpetual class taker. Like, I have like a year and a half left to get my bachelor's degree. And I just would like, because I have a kid and I have life, and I just take a couple classes a semester. So spring semester of 2020, I was taking 4 classes. I had a full course schedule. And then I got laid off March 11th. Classes ended May 15th. So between March 11th and May 15th was kind of like my research development. I put up a couple hundred bandit signs in Vegas. I cold called in Vegas on my free time. That wasn't really working out. I was looking at other markets. And then I was looking at rental properties, and that's how I came across Ohio. So why I started cold calling was when I was following wholesalers. I saw Chris Jefferson, and I'll mention him a lot because he actually, following his Instagram helped me a lot because he would do lives every week. And his lives were just so full of applicable information. And he's not a BSer. He's like straight up like, you can start wholesaling for under $500, pull a list, skip trace it, and cold call it and go. And that's like how his whole attitude is. So I took his advice and I just went for it, and it worked, and it works. So how I started off with JV deals, so all my deals that I've done besides like 2 JV deals have been my contracts. So I get the contracts. If I have trouble selling them, I'll let someone bring in their own buyer. Hey, I have a question. When you send a bird dog or boots on the ground, if you don't close the deal, you still have to pay them. Yes, I pay them $50 flat no matter what. Just, So I mentioned that you want people to call to 4 to 6 hours a day. So how can a newbie afford to skip trace that many? So I pull my list from PropStream. The PropStream list is free. I then skip trace that list. If it's 1,000, 1,200, 800, like somewhere in between there, then that should be about $200 to $250 if you're using REI skip, $15 a skip, right? So I don't suggest any newbie start wholesaling if you don't at least have $400, because you're going to need that. Because if you skip trace a list of 300 people and call it, you're going to be very discouraged because you're not going to get enough answers. You're not going to get enough like viable leads. So you're going to need to definitely call a lot more people. And 4 to 6 hours a day on phone burner will probably be like about 500 people a day that you're calling. And calling 500 numbers a day. Remember, 500 phone numbers a day. Each contact has 3 phone numbers or more, depending on what you're using to skip trace. If you use REI skip, each contact has 3 phone numbers, right? So if you have 1,000 contacts, that means 3,000 phone numbers, right? So you're calling 3,000 numbers. If you're getting 500 every single day, it's going to take you 6 days to call all 3,000, right? And you want to call every list 3 times. So it might take you 3 weeks to finish this initial list, and by then you should have some good leads. So I suggest for a newbie, I know a lot of people will say drive for dollars or whatever, and then skip trace one by one. But I honestly feel like if you put so much effort into something that doesn't give you results, you're just more likely to give up. And I definitely want everyone to have a good experience with wholesaling and not be manually dying one by one and being really discouraged, because it's very discouraging. If you only have 100 people to call and you call them all on your cell phone one by one and you get nothing, you're going to be like, this doesn't work. It's not true. You have to call 1,000 people for even 10 to want to sell. So when you have that in your mind that it's a numbers game and you need to be calling a lot of people, you need to have the money to do it. At least $400. That'll pay for your PropStream $99. That'll pay for your list about $250. That'll pay for your phone burner, and then you got to put the man hours in to make it a deal. Thank you, Will. It's so sweet. Thank you, Slim. Massachusetts in the house. And Dwayne, yep, I'm definitely saving this video. Do you send both documents at once or one at a time? So as far as like the contract and the assignment, if it is, so now that I know a little bit more about the market, like if it's an amazing deal, I already know it's an amazing deal. I send it to title immediately. And then when I get I let them know I should have assignment soon. When I get the assignment, I send the assignment. In the beginning though, I was waiting until I had the contract and the buyer, just because I didn't want to have like a relationship with the title company where they feel like I'm just sending them BS and I'm not even like doing deals. You know what I mean? I want to have like credibility with them. So when I started a new market, I made sure that I had both the contract and the assignment before I sent both of those documents to the title company. If I know, oh, this is a hot deal, it's going to sell super fast, I'll send it to the title company. And now that I've done so many deals with the same title company, they don't really care if one of my deals falls through. They just they just chalk it up. Like they made me pay one time for a title search, $350. And if you follow me, you know I've lost a lot of deals. So that's actually nice of them. And no, I don't use a Google Voice number, Kels. So I use REI Black Book. And in REI Black Book, they have an app called Profit Dial, which is why I don't think I will ever stop using REI Black Book. It's this little app down here. Right there, that one. And it has so many different phone numbers for different things. So I have like a ringless voicemail number. So when people call me on that, I know they're a ringless voicemail person. I have a direct mail number from the couple direct mail campaigns I sent out. My daily number I use for cold calling. When they call that, it will come in as website because I haven't set up any SEO or PPC or anything like that for my website. So I know those are cold calling leads. And then I have my buyers numbers in my 2 markets. Just to track who my buyers leads are. So REI Black Book actually has all of that. It's $200 a month. I have a link in my link tree. There is like an REI Black Book discount because it's like they have like $1,000 sign up fee, which isn't true because I don't think they really charge that. But if you use the code, they waive that fee, and then you just pay the $200 a month. So REI Black Book dispositions is in there. You can have acquisitions in there. You can set tasks in there. But the main thing I use it for is to email blast buyers, create my websites, and these phone numbers with the Profit Dial app. So Stefan said, have you ever tried skip tracing through people on Fiverr? I did. I hated it. Yusuf, so as far as the ARV, that's not really like necessary to know while you're cold calling, I guess I'd say. It's kind of something that the buyers want to know. So if you guys watch my YouTube video, how to comp properties on PropStream, how to make offers using PropStream, that's what it's called. Watch that video if you're having issues with ARV, comping, making offers, because we use cash comps. We don't use ARV times 70% minus repairs. That formula is really antiquated and it works better for larger markets that are higher. It doesn't work as well for high rental markets that have very low, cheap properties. So I don't want you guys getting stuck. I know that's like 2 of the most irritating things is that formula and driving for dollars to me. Like that people always tell me, like, I was driving for dollars. I got 700 people on my driving for dollars list. It took me 2 months and I didn't get a deal. Like, dang, you 2 months to build one list. Like you could have got 1,000 lists on PropStream and called them the next day. Like time is of the essence. We have to use our time for the best things, right? So cash comps, you can pull them up while you're on the phone. You can see what the lowest cash comps are. You can use that as an anchor price number. And this is what all those dudes do. Like the 3 you mentioned earlier. That's what they do. They look at the properties that sold cash and how low can they get the owner to accept their offer for. Then later on, when you're selling it, that's more so when you look at the ARV. ARV is very easy to see on PropStream. If you type in the address, you put in comparables, look at the properties that sold in the last 6 months, and you will be able to clearly see when you click on the photos what is, the nicest retail sold home, the most updated, and that's your ARV. If a house sold for $250,000 and it's beautiful, grays and whites, stainless steel appliances, it's brand new remodeled, then $250 is your ARV. If it's sold for $250 and it looks old and doesn't look updated, that's not your ARV. There's something that will sell higher if it's done nicer, right? And that's when you use PropStream and Zillow and you use all your resources to find the highest selling homes. And you want there to be at least 3 or 4 of them around the same range so you can confidently say this is the ARV. And you want them to hopefully be on the same street, if not on the same few streets, because as you guys know, in some towns, like this street might be okay, and then you turn the corner and it's the hood. Like you don't know. So that's another place where boots on the ground come in handy, because you can text your boots on the ground addresses and they can tell you, ooh, that's in a bad area. And I did that a lot in the beginning. I texted my partner Eric that I ended up buying the triplex with, I would text him addresses for like the first 3 months of me wholesaling every house that I was looking at because I trusted him to tell me what he thought about the area without trying to steal my deal. This man is a businessman. He runs his own successful business. He's not worried about my deals. So find someone you can trust to run addresses by in that market and who's not a wholesaler who can tell you about that area. And they'll tell you, oh, that's on the wrong side of the street. If it was like on the corner, then yeah, I could see it. I could see it being worth that much. But because it sits right there, facing that street, it's not. So those are little things that you never know because you're not from there. Um, yeah. So Stefan, this lady actually had a really good tip on that Fiverr skip tracing, and I might as well pull it up. It's on my Instagram. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. She had this thing where she said, um, how she found a good skip tracer on Fiverr was I can't find the actual post, so I'm just gonna tell you. Um, yeah, okay. Yeah, I can't find it. Sorry, I was really trying to find it. She basically said she gave the Fiverr skip tracer a list of 20 people that she knew personally that owned a home. So like your mom, your dad, your uncle, your grandpa, your best friends, everybody who owns a home that you give them that list of people and let them skip trace it for free. So if it's 20 people, and see if they actually come up with the right numbers because you have those people's real numbers so you can test it. So that's a good way to even see if a skip tracer on Fiverr has good skip tracing technology. Because if not, you'll see they just gave you a bunch of BS numbers for your friends and family, and you'll be able to just move on without having wasted any money. And if the numbers do come up good, now you have a good, cheap skip tracer. So I'll be totally transparent with you guys. I do have a skip tracer that someone gave me. She's a private investigator, but she doesn't like do it for everyone, which is why like I can't advertise her because I asked her before, but since I have kind of a bigger platform now, she was like, no, I'm really busy, so sorry, don't send me people. But if you can find people like that who use TLO, because that's what she uses, if you can find people who use TLO for skip tracing, it's more expensive. REI skip's only 15. She charges 20 cents a skip, but it's so more than worth it because I'm getting really, really quality data. If it's a list that I don't want to spend that money on, I'll use the hot wholesale data, the GeoPoint data that they gave me an affiliate for because obviously I get a discount, you know? So if I'm not trying to get like the cheapest leads, the cheapest skip tracing, and I just want like the most accurate because it's a really good list, then I'll use her. But if it's like a sample list, because sometimes some companies will give me like a sample list of like 500 or 1,000, then I'll skip trace it through different like REI Skip or um, a really good company that actually gave me a list is called Distinct. And I got linked up with them through this realtor in Vegas. His name is Eric. And they have like 6 potential phone numbers for each person. So I thought that was really cool. And I'm getting some leads from there. Sukui, do I have recommendation for creating a website? Yeah, REI Black Book. I love REI Black Book. It's expensive. Jose said you love to talk. I know, I do. It's so funny because I think like wholesaling was literally meant for me. Because when I talk to sellers, I will have 40-minute conversations with people regularly. Like this is not a once like every day or every other day I'll end up stuck on the phone with the seller for like 40 minutes because I do like to talk. I love people. I love human beings and relationships and conversations and like love and family and happiness and success and everything that makes life worth living is like it makes me feel so good and alive to have relationships with people. So I think it's a really good business for people who like to talk. Um, So German Vargas, how to use cash comps. Check out my video, how to make offers on PropStream on YouTube, and that'll walk you right through it. Um, Reina, no, just because I'm super busy. I don't have any like mentorship or anything like that to try to like help people close the first deal. I'm really trying to like scale. That's why I do a bunch of like these free things, and I just have my course because I do want to help. It's just like going first, I haven't been wholesaling long enough to transition out. Like I don't have a team. I don't have an acquisitions and a dispositions and a transaction coordinator and people who can do every task for me. I'm doing everything besides acquisitions now. And I have some people helping me with acquisitions, but I'm still doing my own, right? So I still have 3 job duties within my company, plus trying to keep up with content on YouTube and Instagram to help people. So right now, I don't have any type of like structure, mentorship program. But if you're in Missouri or Ohio, we might be able to JV and stuff like that, you know. But that's pretty much like the only way I can kind of help you sell a deal is if I'm like helping you sell it or like helping you come up with like a like if you're in my market and you say, let's JV a deal, this is the address, and I've been talking to the seller and they want to sell, what should I offer? Like, then I could be like, okay, under 15K, and then you go and get it under contract and I help you sell it. Like that I have done with a couple people who just happen to be in my markets. But I wouldn't say like come to my market for that reason because there's so many better markets out there and you can do it on your own. I promise you guys, you can all do it 100% on your own, just like I did for free on YouTube. If you have that grit and gusto to learn for free. And if not, you can buy an inexpensive class. Mine is very inexpensive. Or if you want to spend a little bit more money, you know, I don't know. I haven't heard like great feedback about applicable knowledge in other courses. But if you took a really good one, drop it in the live chat. If you know one that you think is amazing or whatever, let people know. Is PropStream skip tracing good in your opinion? I've never used PropStream skip tracing. Lance, yeah, I think it's good to hire an acquisitions person. That's technically what I had to do. Even though I didn't hire them, they're getting a percentage, like they're not getting paid up front. But yeah, definitely. And fitness tips, my boots on the ground is not a contractor. They just take the pictures. Yusuf. So I did use VAs from the Philippines and I did get deals, of course. I just don't like the whole language barrier. And I feel like sometimes they would like try to make a lead when it wasn't. People weren't really motivated sellers, but they felt like they just had to get leads in. But I know a lot of companies that very successfully use VAs. Basically, thank you. I appreciate that. I haven't tried Data Finder. I have no idea what that is. And Dorcas Lee, I look for in a VA someone who can carry a very natural conversation with a high level of rapport while going through the script. I feel like the VAs, foreign VAs, they are not as good at building rapport and they just try to stick to the script and ask the questions and get through the call. I find my highest deals, my best spread deals, and almost all my deals that have been good deals have come from building a lot of rapport, talking to these people for a long time, getting to know their story, getting to know what's going on, so I can actually help them. And if your VA can't do that, it's just like wasting leads and wasting conversations. So I prefer American VAs. Don't kill me, but not VAs, cold callers, because you got to pay them a lot more, of course, but still it's worth it. I'd rather pay someone 20-30% of a deal and they're actually getting me deals than, me just getting a ton of leads that I have to follow up on and I'm wasting my time calling people who aren't really motivated to sell. That frustrated me, and that's why I fired my VAs. I do one-on-ones. There's a link in my Instagram bio for that. And actually, I'll put the link right here. So this is my link tree, and it has like my everything in there. I do have my class in there, and it's on Gumroad. So as soon as you get it, you get access to it immediately, and that's the link to that. as well. And Elliot, so when I save this, so Elliot, the hot areas for wholesaling, I have a video about virtual markets on YouTube, so watch that. And also in the beginning of this video, that's where we started. So how to pick a market, getting in the market, getting your boots on the ground. You got the contract. Now you marketed it on Craigslist, Facebook, everywhere for free. If that didn't work, you pulled your cash buyers list and you text blasted them. Okay, now you got an offer. You told them they have 24 hours to put their earnest money down. They put the earnest money down. Now you're going to get paid, right? Because we're walking through all the steps. So now we're at this process where we're going to get paid. This is where you have to be over 18 because you have to have either an LLC, driver's license, something to prove you are who you are. You're the person who signed the contract, and they'll do the same thing with the seller. They ask the seller for their license, information, etc. Now the title company has everyone's information. Everyone's got their earnest money. Everything's in. They're ready to close, right? So you have closing day. Closing day is really important. On closing day, the buyer has to perform. They have to send their money. The seller has to perform. They have to sign the contract. So now I get to talk about your role from the day that your assignment, contract, and earnest money is in title to the day that your deal closes. You need to be calling the seller and the buyer all the time, like throughout that process, texting them, seeing what's up, making sure everyone's still on the same page. You don't know what's going to come up. The seller's daughter might have a baby in Florida, and then now they got to go to Florida. They're not even in the town anymore. The buyer's, freaking Ferrari could have flown off, and now they got to spend all this money fixing their Ferrari, and now they don't want to do the deal anymore. Like, you don't know what's going to happen if you're not checking in with these people. You do not want the situation to happen where closing day comes up and you're sitting waiting for your wire and it falls through because of something you missed. Really important. Once everything's in title, follow up with these people every couple of days. Hey, text message. Hey, how's everything going? Just checking to make sure everything's going good. Hey, talk to title today. They got the title search in. We're still expected to close on the 15th. Hey, just want to check in. How's your day? Wow, wasn't that snow crazy? It doesn't matter what you're saying. You just want to stay active as a presence in their life because, and you also want them to feel like, you didn't just get the deal and dip off. Like, you have to continue talking to these people until the deal closes because it doesn't count till it hits the account. So you want it to count. So you got to keep massaging these relationships you have with your seller and your buyer. Once you do a few deals with the same cash buyers, you don't really have to do that. Like, you'll learn their habits. They put the money down, they close. But in the beginning, definitely want to keep up with them. And your seller, they both have to perform on closing day. You want to make sure they both are still happy to close on closing day. Ken, my favorite way to find leads is pulling lists from PropStream and just cold calling them. How did you overcome cold call paralysis? Okay. If you are someone who's going to be scared of rejection, or you don't like rejection, or you have like this huge fear, number one, you just have to get over it. I still get nervous cold calling today. Like, I promise you, it's never going to go away completely, but you will get more comfortable with it over time, and you will come to expect rejection. You will come to expect, F you, don't ever call me, it's the wrong number, you're bothering me, all that stuff. You will come to expect it, and when you hear it, you will know you're really close to your next deal. So that's my little key. Like, when I get rejected, I know I'm really close to a deal. So for me, having that mentality about it propels me forward when I get rejected. It doesn't make me like, someone cussed me out, I'm going to go eat ice cream and cry. Like, no, someone cussed me out, I'm about to get a deal soon. Like, yay, I got cussed out today. That means my deal's coming up soon. And that's literally the only way you're going to get through this business. Because if you don't have an iron strong mentality and an iron strong ability to be rejected over and over and over every single day, you're not going to make it. Like, you're just not. If you feel bad about bothering people who have said, yes, I want to sell, but you haven't been able to get the contract yet, if you feel bad about bothering them, you're never gonna get far. You have to call them like 3, 4 times a day. You might annoy them. They might get pissed off and say, you know what, I was F you, I'm not gonna sell to you now. You're crazy. But at least you know they weren't really gonna sell, because someone who really wants to sell their house will get on the phone with you and be like, okay, sorry, I was busy, and apologize. You don't want to waste your time. They don't want to waste their time. Is it a deal or not? Is basically the main point that you're trying to get. And you can't be scared of rejection. You can't be scared to call people. So on day one, um, when I was first like asking people that same question, some people would say, take a shot before you start cold calling. But I don't think that's a good idea. I got super sleepy when I tried that. Um, you just gotta like get your mind ready to be excited when you get rejected. Like look forward to it, look for it, and then you'll be in a better position. You won't be like, oh, I don't want to cold call because someone might cuss me out. You'll be like, oh, I can't wait till someone cusses me out. Let me get on this so I can get cussed out today. And that's how you get deals. It took me like 2 weeks to get my first deal. I like this wholesale, single family, multifamily, whatever. I just haven't done well with apartment buildings. 2 to 4 multis are good though. How do you tell the seller that you will not be the end buyer at closing? I don't tell them. They don't really know or care usually. They're just they just want to sell their house. So I don't tell them. If some way, somehow, some reason they find out or whatever, I just say it's using my partner's LLC, because most of these end buyers are buying under an LLC. They're not buying in their name. So, and they've already understood from the beginning that it may be Offer George buying the house, it may be me, Toddy, buying the house, it may be my partner, it may be me and my partner's LLC that we have together. Like I don't say clear cut, I'm gonna be the one buying. It's like my partners and I, we hold multiple LLCs, and this is stuff that comes out in conversation. This is not a pitch. This is not part of my pitch. While I'm building rapport with them and I'm telling them like who I am, what I do, what we do, part of that is letting them know that I work with partners. I have multiple businesses with different people, and I do deals with different people. So they're understanding that I'm a businesswoman, and they're not really they don't really care, who's paying the money. They just want to get paid. How much money do you put in earnest money, and how much is the most I will do? So here's my thing. I don't put in earnest money right off the bat. So I have an inspection contingency, and the way I word it is for me to have to put the earnest money down prior to the end of the inspection period, and then I make the inspection period end about 10 or 15 days prior to close. So that right there is like my little tricky way of giving myself like a month to have to put any money down. So if I have that long, then I should for sure know by then if I'm going to be able to sell it or not, so I can back out before the earnest money is due. So because of that, and me not actually having to put earnest money down because of that, I make the earnest money deposit $500 or more, just depending on the ARV of the property and the purchase price we agreed upon. But I'll put $500. But I've never paid it. Well, I've paid it once, but the deal closed. Raina, so that's my answer, Raina. The reason why I don't offer $20 and $100 is because I feel like they're not going to take you seriously, And I'd rather say $500 and have a whole month to put that money down than to say $100 and actually lose $100. You know what I mean? Because I could pay boots on the ground twice to take pictures of 2 properties with $100. So you say the earnest money is $5,000. Who cares? Just make the inspection contingency long enough for you to find a buyer before that's due, so you can back out if you don't. He said he smokes a bowl before he cold calls. That might work for some people, and that might put some of you to sleep. So know yourself. Seth, you should make a TikTok. I have a TikTok. I just suck at it. I'm definitely going to put more energy into TikTok. And Ken, yes, the faster you fail, the faster you recover. That's why I have no problem telling people, like, I have like 30 something contracts out there and only 18 have closed. Like, that's when you're talking about like wholesalers, like Max Maxwell and stuff like that, like that's an embarrassing statistic. Almost half of my deals don't close. But You know, that was a lot of failing. Lots of failings teaching me a lot. I don't even care though. Like you guys can tell, like my whole attitude about life, like if I'm able to pay my bills doing wholesaling. Not only that, I'm saving a ton of money. I'm making a ton of money that I've never made before. I'm very happy, but I'm not content. I want more because I know I can do better, right? So I'm not going to beat myself up because of my stats right now, but I am trying to get them better. And I'll be totally transparent with you guys along my journey. Like later on, when I get to the point where I'm at like an 80% closing ratio, I'll probably throw a party on YouTube and we can have a party about my closing ratio getting better. But right now, not so good. Not so good. Thank you. I will check out the link. Do you cold call every day? So my cold callers cold call every day. I don't anymore. You guys are so nice. Did I have an LLC when I did my first deal? Yes. So I got my LLC. It was $100, and I just felt like I needed that. And I got a website from Wix. It was like a $30 a month thing. And I got those just because I wanted to have that credibility in case somebody said, "Well, what's your website? What company are you from?" I wanted to have that, and I think that that helps. It makes you seem real. You guys are so funny. Backwood with some crumble. Oh no. Jose, dang, you getting lit before cold calling. Oh God. Yeah, speak those closings to existence. Yes. I tried to like, and then that's one thing I did a lot. Manifestation. So when I got my first, like, yes, I want to sell, I literally would just close my eyes and imagine like that contract being signed. I would take a shower, imagine everywhere I would go. I would just imagine that contract getting signed and me sending it to title. And then once I got the contract, I'd visualize the assignment. Once I get the assignment, I'd visualize the money in my bank account. So um, I would say visualization is a big part of this, manifestation, positive mindset. And I think most of the classes or courses that you guys probably have came across and bought have been all about mindset and less about application, which of course mindset is the most important part of this whole thing we're doing, this business. Because without the proper mindset, you're not going to succeed. But I also feel like if you're somebody who's working on yourself, working on your mindset is like a it's like a given. We should all be reading self-development books and books that help us in business and watching YouTubes and listening and doing meditations. And we should all be trying to become better people. The better person you are, the more money you're going to make. That's just like hand in hand. The more you develop as a human, the more your income will grow. Your social circle will become full of better types of individuals and everything like that. So like self growth, self help. If you guys know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, once you've done the basics of like food and shelter and you have your family and your love and everything, you got to figure out who you are and what you're here on this earth for, right? And I think that's a big part of this journey that we're all in because yes, we're trying to wholesale. Yes, we're trying to make money, but there's a million ways to make money. It's not just wholesaling. So, what purpose are you trying to get out of this? And throughout the whole process, like what purpose is wholesaling going to serve in your ultimate goal? What is your definite purpose in life? I know that's hard to just say, but it like through self-development that will come out, and through self-development, the right mindset will come out. Reading books like Think and Grow Rich, Outwitting the Devil. Okay, I'm like getting close to finishing the 48 Laws of Power. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like how manipulative it is and how it's all about like finding a victim to like use these tricks. I hate that because I hate people like that. I don't like people who go through life like it's a game of just so dog eat dog. Like we're human beings. Like I love people. I want to help people. I don't want to like figure out a way to make them a victim. So I don't really like that. But the good part about the book is it's teaching me about those type of people and how to defend myself from them. So I think the 48 Laws of Power is an amazing book. And it's crazy because as I'm listening to it on Audible, it's just making me wake up to the types of people that I've come across in life, the manipulation and how they've been able to, you know, make me a victim in their plot to like take over the whole world or whatever, you know? So like all these books are really helping me become a better person, which is in turn helping me become a better wholesaler, a better mom, close more deals and everything like that. So just keep working on yourself, you know? And yeah, don't pay for stuff. Teach yourself from YouTube. Um, if you can, teach yourself from YouTube. See, let's look at Jose. He said, "You want to get better at having a hustler mindset? Listen to Nipsey Hussle. Read The Art of War. Thick face, black heart." Yes. So all of those, like, if I took you guys to my room right now, I have like a bookshelf and it has all these books, and then I have Audible, and I spend all my time listening to audiobooks too. So those things, mindset is the number one most important part of this, because before you start, before you pick your market, all that, you have to have it in your head that if this doesn't work in 2 weeks, if this doesn't work in a month, if this doesn't work in 3 months, I'm going to still be consistent in doing as much as I can. Consistency is the key to this, and mindset is the key to consistency. If you get discouraged, you're going to stop. So that's why I say, like, pull a big list, use a dialer, cold call, because I don't want you getting discouraged. All those things will prevent you from getting discouraged, because you'll be talking to as many people as you can, as quick as you can. But that is just to placate that mindset of, oh, this is too hard. No one's answering the phone. All the numbers are wrong. Because that's what you will say to yourself if you don't have the mindset of, yes, someone got on the phone, even though it was the wrong number. Yes, someone got on the phone, even though they said F you. You know what I mean? It's so funny because I planned to have like 3 breaks throughout this because it's 3 hours, and now we're like at the end and no breaks happened. But I really, really appreciate you guys for like sticking through this whole thing. And, you know, it's so funny how time flies like that. B stacks. There is alternatives to PropStream. Texas, Cali, Arizona. I think Propelio is really popular. And everywhere else, I think PropStream is probably your best bet. But I think dang, Flipster? Is that the one? I think you guys probably know it. I don't know, but I've heard of one. I think it's called Flipster. I think that's supposed to be similar. But PropStream is cheap and it does so much. I feel like you need PropStream because it's the closest thing to public records, unless you have MLS access, and you could use both. Special Mom Club, shout out, really, really good mom there, really great lady, and just someone that I really wish all the success. She's a really cool lady. We talked, and thank you for saying that my class is totally worth it. I know that anyone who takes the class and applies these things, it will change your life. And even this live, plus the free YouTube videos, like, I learned for free on YouTube, guys, and I'm not a millionaire. I know I need to find a mentorship and a next level class. Like, that's where I'm at right now. I've done a bunch of deals. I need to find the next level so my spreads can be bigger, so my stats can be better. And that's what I'm working on. I think I'm going to go to Quentin's next event. Like, fingers crossed COVID doesn't keep stopping all these events from happening, because I love live events where I get to meet people in person, and I would love to meet all of you guys in person if you ever go to like a wholesaling event. But if you're just starting, you don't need that. You just need the steps to start, do some deals, and then we go for next level. So maybe this time next year, I'll have figured out a way to scale to like 50K or more a month, you know, and that will be amazing. But on average, if I can make 20K a month, just going deal by deal by deal, that's, I mean, dude, I was a waitress. Like, this is amazing. This is amazing. And it's still unbelievable to me, like, that I'm here working from home. Like, I promise you. And when my job called me to come back, when the casino opened back up at the end of August, when they called me to offer me my position, and I was talking to my mom's like, "Do you want to work like maybe a couple days a week or whatever?" And I'm like, it's literally going to be a waste of time, because I know I can like put that time towards getting more deals. And I've already made way more my first month wholesaling than I made a whole year at my job. So it just didn't make sense, you know? So I didn't go back to work, which was kind of scary to say, no, I'm not going back to work. But it was really liberating. And I still have trouble believing this is my life sometimes. And I know, like, when I'm out of this apartment and into like a mansion and I have all these rental properties, I'm going to still be in disbelief. But I think my disbelief and like the poverty that I came from as a child, because we were really poor, I think that's what makes me so excited to share this information with other people. Because when I started, I could have been like, let me just learn everything and try to make some money and just do my own thing. But I started posting everything because when I first started, I was just documenting everything. And then when I actually first got paid, I was like, "Oh my god, this thing is real. It changed my life. All I had to do was call people. All I had to do was put a little time, energy, and effort. Oh my god, this thing is real." And I told everybody, my mom, my dad, my sister, everyone in my life, I pretty much told them they have to become wholesalers. And I pretty much told them this is the only way of life from now on. And nobody agreed. It's still me here by myself doing it. And they're all interested and want to do it, but don't have time, or, like everyone's on different pages in their life. But as soon as I realized this is real, I tried to like evangelize like a Jehovah's Witness and make everybody a wholesaler. But life doesn't work like that. Um, but then there's people like you guys who are out there in the world who already want to do it, and you just don't have the information. So why not help people who actually want to do it and change their life? There's so many single moms and single dads and people who, have come from places like me, like low places, and have been able to become rich, successful, and maybe even powerful people. And if I can help anyone, you know, surpass me, that's amazing. Um, Seth, my first deal was in Ohio. She said, my level up ladies, my job pays me 6 figures, is letting us work from home until August. Nice. Yes, exactly. So anybody at any level, like a 6-figure job is amazing, but you want to, yeah, you can definitely do 50K a month. I want to do 50K a month for sure. And I didn't get, like, my first month was, my best month was almost 40K. So I feel, and actually, technically in assignment fees, it was more, but I had to pay people, like there was other people in the deals. So that's what I took home, but it's okay. He's okay. So Donna, my first deal, I made like 14,700 something dollars. It was like right under 15 grand. And I didn't have a JV, so it was all for me. So that was like the little light, like, whoa, this is real. Oh my God, I can't believe I made $15,000. Like, what? I would have never. It took me years. Like, it took me, I think, from when I was like 19 to 21 to save like $7,000. But I'm a saver. Like, I'm not a blow money girl. I'm like, put it in my bank and pretend I don't have it girl. So I always like would just put a little money away. But it took me forever to save like $5,000 or $6,000. So like when I did a deal and it was like 15,000, it was like I can't believe this is like possibly my life now. And then now it is my life now. Like I know what to do every day when I wake up to make money. It's just, Toddy, are you going to be serious today and work as hard as you can? Or are you going to be a lazy butt today and call a couple people and talk to a few people and watch TV? Once you start making money, you have to ride your own self to consistently go as hard as you did when you were super hungry. It's very easy to get complacent when you have 20K months and you've never made money like that before. But that's why I think it's so important to always look at people doing more than you. Because when I see Quentin Flores and he's posting his TikTok video and he's like 50K deal, 80K deal, I'm like, I never made one of those. So people like that always motivate me because I know the potential in wholesaling is millions and I haven't even scratched the surface yet. So that's why this journey is so exciting. Like you guys are here with me on it. Yes, I'm so happy with all the networking going on, you guys. So Jalabi, there is red tape in Ohio. So Ohio is one of those states that it's illegal wholesale in. You can just be like a little sneaky snake and go around it. Honestly, that's the only, that's what I'm doing. And then I started in Missouri too, because I wanted like a backup state that it wasn't illegal, like just in case, something goes down. But so far so good. That's all I'll say. And let me knock on wood. Yeah, Ken, the big money's in the multifamily. So why my stats are so bad, I'll just throw this out there. I got like 7 apartment buildings under contract and couldn't sell one of them because I had no idea about apartment buildings. So if we take out my apartment buildings, like my closing ratio is like 80%. But I'll be honest and I'll keep those in there because like I did the whole cash comps thing. I did the whole ARV. Like I tried every method to find a good offer. And I thought I got these people so low because I saw other apartment buildings. For example, like one of them, there was apartment building selling for like 300, 250 grand, whatever. And I got this property under contract for 120. And I'm like, oh, no brainer, right? But because I didn't know enough about like the operating expenses and like the actual costs in an apartment building versus a single family or like a 2 to 4 multi, because like a 2 to 4 multi is kind of similar to a single family. But when you're talking 24 units or 16 units, things kind of are different, especially if like the whole heating system doesn't work or there's an issue with the foundation. Like now you're getting like really specific next level, and I don't have that knowledge, and I didn't have that knowledge in August when I got all those apartment buildings under contract. So I pulled an apartment building list. I went crazy. I got 7 apartment buildings under contract and none of them sold. And it was really disappointing to disappoint that many people, you know? So I kind of cooled off apartments. I went back to single family, 2 to 4 multi. And now I just teamed up with a real estate guy who does a lot of apartments. So I'm trying to learn from him before I dive back in. And I'm also sending him the properties to give me like accurate buy prices. And one thing I noticed about apartments is he wants to look at them before giving an offer. So the whole cash comps, finding a buy price over the internet, it doesn't seem to work in my market for apartment buildings. So that's something I've learned. So I'm trying to get better so I can get the bigger spreads. Um, and Stefan, if you don't have credibility yet, I would say that you should just say like you're yourself, you're a home buyer and you're trying to buy a property for yourself so that they don't even come at you with that. Because you don't have to have a company to be a landlord, you know? You can just say, hey, I'm a landlord, I'm an aspiring landlord. And that's how you should kind of approach the situation if you don't. But I would definitely get an LLC ASAP because you want that credibility of being an actual company. And Curleen, so I started actually got my first deal contract in May, and I started cold calling like right at the end of April. So I haven't been doing this for very long. 8 months. 8 months. Um, and yes, Ken, we definitely have to connect after this. He said Memphis, Cleveland, Orlando, Chicago, Nashville are his top markets. Thanks, Brandon. That's so good of you. I'm only in 2 markets. I'm in Cleveland and St. Well, okay. When I say Ohio, like I've done deals in like Dayton and like in I've pulled lists in Columbus, Cincinnati, like but mainly Cleveland, and then St. Louis, Missouri, and I've pulled lists and tested Baltimore and Philly, and I don't know, like maybe I didn't put enough energy into it, but I didn't really like those markets. I know people do so many deals there, but Brandon said where his were, and I have a friend who wholesales in like 11 markets, and he says his best markets are Detroit and Birmingham, Alabama. So, you know what they say, the grass is green where you water it. So, don't look at all the markets like, is that a better market? Is that a better market? No, put more time and energy into the market you chose, and then eventually expand, you know? Um, yeah, you can set up an LLC online, and for setting up a website, you can use Wix. Wix is a really good, cheap way to make a website. It's like 30 bucks a month, and everything's drag and drop. And that's what I used at first. And then once I got a couple deals and had some money to put back in, I got REI Black Book. Um, and we are over 3 hours now. You guys are awesome for like sticking through this whole time. And I want to do these like once a month probably because I know it's hard like with the lives to get everybody's questions in, but I really like how this YouTube live went, and maybe the Zoom will actually work next time. And I'm going to keep this video up and keep asking me questions. Even if I don't get back to you on Instagram, I'm doing like my weekly YouTube videos where I'm answering all the questions and stuff. And I think I might just do lives because this is so much better and interactive. Okay, so before I go, what does my day-to-day look like? So I actually have my one-woman team. So as when I was a one-woman team and I didn't have anyone helping me, I would wake up at 5 a.m. because remember 6 a.m. here is 9 a.m. In Cleveland. So I wake up at 5 a.m. and, stretch and drink my water and eat maybe or whatever, drink coffee. And then between 6 and 6:30, I'll log into my dialer and I will just cold call nonstop, like no interruptions, at least for 3 hours. Um, and then I will follow up on warm leads after that. So the people that I talked to that said, yeah, I want to sell, but they really haven't made a decision. And I'll try to make offers, from the previous days and reach people I haven't been able to reach. And how I started off for the people that I'm like chasing to answer the phone, I'll call them like 3 times a week for the first couple weeks. And then if they're not answering, I'll call like once a week for a month. That's when I started. Now I know you got to call people 3 times a day, like for real. If you have someone who says yes, they want to sell, call them all day. If they want to sell, they'll answer the phone or text you back or something. And after that, like around noon, if I have any deals, I would do like if I have any potential deals, I'll do some like dispositions where I'll just be talking to people on Facebook, posting Craigslist ads, posting Craigslist posts, even Craigslist ghost listings, like posting properties that you don't actually have just to build your buyers list, doing things like that. And also in the very beginning, emailing and talking to title companies and making sure you have a good title company on the hook and talking to people. So after that, that's when I would get into talking on the phone with boots on the ground with other people from the markets, just chit chatting because I wanted to know everything about my market. So I'm asking them like, what's a good area? What's the best zip codes? What's the scary areas to avoid? What's like the area that's like the Beverly Hills that would be so hard to get a deal, but everybody would love it? Like really learning about that town. And that is pretty much my day to day. Of course, at the end of the night, you can scrub your lists, put lists into your dialers, and do all things like that. And you can go that route too. So that's pretty much what I do. My Instagram is The Hot Wholesale. All one word. I don't know why YouTube spaced it out. It's at The Hot Wholesale. And then that is the class, the virtual wholesaling crash course. And then that's the link tree. So if you guys don't have PropStream yet, I have a PropStream free trial on there. And I think you definitely need PropStream to do this, comp properties and everything. So that is the PropStream. One last question. No, all on off market. I've never done anything that was on Zillow, on the MLS, nothing like that. So 100% off market. I wouldn't want to try to sell a deal that other buyers have seen already. So with that, we will end this. Bye, Jose, Brandon, Stefan, everybody who we've been rocking this whole 3 hours. Thank you guys so much, and we will talk next time. Have a great day, guys. I wonder if it ended or if it's still going on right now.